I hope I don't start belching because that burns.
Oh Lord, don't belch on the street.
That's what
Don't
they
belch.
like about. That's what they like about us. That we're real on this. We ain't got to be
Not to belch though. Not to
Yep.
belch.
That burn is how you belching like you just had 6 pack of beer.
Not to belch on the stream though.
All right, comments. There you go. All right, y'all. What up, though? Today is Friday, the third Friday of the month. When we do this, today's topic is how to bid at the tax auction. Well, the Wayne County tax auction. What, 2 weeks? 2 weeks away?
Yep.
believe
I think.
so.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming up.
This second, September 2nd.
Oh, right before Labor Day. That's
Yep.
About
cool.
10 days, 7 to 10 days.
Right. So we got special guest, Mr. Reggie P, in the building. Very experienced broker and Detroiter. He knows a lot of stuff. He's an awesome person. I don't know. Do you teach like stuff on the auction? I know you be
Yeah.
posting videos and stuff, but I know you like had a class.
I teach. I kind of consult with different investors, primarily like investors that are working with us from the sales side, and
Yeah.
I do some one-on-one coaching with agents. I just don't promote it as much, but people always calling me for advice for free. I got to get like you and start.
No free.
You're right.
No
No
free.
freebies.
Free is not in my. I can't even spell free. F what?
Right.
Give
You.
me your R. Give me your E. Give me your
Mm-mm.
E.
No free.
Yeah.
Yep. Rhonda, what up? I see Rhonda just tapped in the comments.
Yeah, she in there on the other side of the wall over there.
Oh,
Talking about she gonna pull my door up so we don't have an echo.
oh, maybe you was,
Rhonda be getting busy.
Right?
man. Where she getting it in?
I'll be at a closing, then she be selling my listings, then she
Yeah.
be closing them at the same time.
Notarizing it.
You know,
Then selling people credit.
she's been a
Right.
tremendous help. I can tell you that much. You know, it really works when you got someone that understands it from all perspectives.
Yep.
You know, respect the game.
Oh, she help you out up there now?
Yeah, well, you know, she's one of our primary closers.
What? 'Cause-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rhonda.
Rhonda,
It's going on a year, I think.
Yeah, it's been a
new
minute.
to me. You know, I didn't know. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, we just picked up another closer because it was becoming a bit much for her. But shit, she been handling that shit. She got her own whole department.
All right.
And you know what's important about that? It really helps to have a closer that understands the real estate side,
Mhm.
because it's so much that goes into getting the deal to the closing table.
Yep.
I've had closers at the closing table say the wrong thing, and they didn't mean anything by it. It's just that they said it wrong, and it almost blew the deal up
Yep.
because
we
they
was
didn't
just talking
understand the
about that.
tension in the room.
We were just talking about that literally. You know, it's a difference with being a closer for a title company and being a contract signing agent or whatever you call it. And you know, because a lot of folks will call me and say, "Are you hiring?" And I'm like, "Well, I really don't do contract closers." And there's nothing. I have nothing against you. It's just that when you're closing a title company deal, it's not like walking in and picking up a file and saying, "Let me do your refi," or sign here, sign here. You got to really manage the room and know how to work the room and
Mhm.
read the temperature of the room.
Yep.
And yeah, it takes a special thing. But you got to get your feelings hurt a little bit and kind of get some shit thrown in your face to really grasp it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's different. It's a different beast. Are we gonna go over tithes and offerings before we get started?
Always. Doors of the church is open. All right. So if you support us, what we're doing, please send a donation to Denson Construct Serve, or if you Instagram, they gave your girl badges now, so you can buy a badge now. Haha.
Ooh, buying a badge.
Great upgrade.
You got a blue check yet?
Not yet, but I think I am about to go and try to get that blue check. I am sponsored by what is it? Damn, that damn company is a tile company out of Santa Barbara, California.
Sound
Oh,
like
okay.
you just shout them out if they sponsoring you.
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
forgot them.
I'm about to pull up the email. This just happened like this week, so it's been
Uh-huh.
a lot. I gotta put the little link in my bio and my discount code. I'm gonna fly out there, take some pictures sitting on the tile, you know, real black light.
Asia nationwide. Like I'll be following people on YouTube, and I'll be seeing Asia all in the mix.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll be like, dang, like Erica, everybody.
That's
Oh,
what's
I met
up.
Erica like 17 on Facebook. Then she actually came to Detroit. We've been friends ever since.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how it's got to be though. You gotta
Yep.
stay in the now, man. Because if you stay behind the scenes, you gonna get left behind.
yeah.
That part.
You gotta
Oh, what
stay.
else about the church announcements? Oh, the minimum if you want your question answered, not a paragraph, not a book, not a thesis statement, not an opening statement. The minimum is $5 a question. Now, if it's like a sentence with a comma, maybe, but not like a sentence, a comma, semicolon, dash, none of that. No long questions. If you want that, you got to book a consultation with one of these four amazing people that is on your screen. I think that's it for church announcements.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. Did you guys have I shared Eric Sabri's video yesterday on to my page. I
I
probably got to
didn't.
try to get it over to you because he was talking about the new Mister program where it's like up to $40,000 or something per household that they're about to roll out in September.
Okay.
Oh,
And it's for low income, taxes and some other stuff. And there was a few other things on there that are new and coming up for because basically his point was we're about to be in March in the next few months, and if
That's
you
right.
haven't paid your 2019 taxes, we're gonna be right back where we are now, talking about, oh, please don't foreclose on me. And he
Yep.
said,
yep.
unfortunately, they've been audited, and the auditors are telling them they're too lenient with closing the tax rolls. Once come March 31st, they should really be you're foreclosed. And because they've been so lenient, now their auditors are coming down on them. So he's saying
Right.
that they're trying to link up with all the nonprofits, all the different grant programs, everything, and give advertising and give everyone the opportunity to know about the different ways that you can get help with your taxes, because it's not going to be the same way that has been in the past years. And,
Yep.
I mean, and he's right. March is around the corner if you look at it.
Absolutely. And I've
So
been saying that and preaching that for the longest, probably since last year, and especially this year when they decided not to foreclose on all the owner occupant
yeah,
properties. So I knew that was going to come. They've been very, very lenient on the community at large. So
yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll try to get that video over to you guys and figure out how to upload it. But I did share it. It was a lot of good information on there last night.
How long is the video?
This is probably about 30 minutes. It starts off kind of slow because they like, hello, 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 is Mr. Sabri there? Hello, Mr. He's sitting right there, and they're like, hi. So I'm like, oh my god. But then
If
once
you
they
send me the
get,
link, I could have my VA or somebody, the dude on Fiverr who do my videos, rip it.
okay,
And
it's
then they edit
definitely
it.
something that we need to get out because it's a lot of again, it's some money out there. Some programs that folks don't know about. Like I'm sure everyone knows about the VA loans or the VA where your taxes can be exempt if you're a disabled
disabled
veteran.
veteran. Yep.
But
yeah,
a lot of
Mhm.
folks aren't taking advantage of that.
because
Yep.
again, it's always goes back down to our favorite thing is paperwork. A lot of
Yep.
people don't have it, or they just don't want to supply it, or they just don't know where to get it. So yeah, it's the
Yeah.
paperwork part.
Just like I've been telling people, they can get their taxes waived as long as the house stay in the family. Guess how many people done filled it out? Me.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have some low income programs too where you don't have to pay or they do other assistance.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
think right now the way the market is, and the way Detroit is in general, it's it still surprised me people are still losing their houses for property taxes. Because if all else fails, most of these homes you can sell and get enough money to restart your life over with. Because
Mm.
I'm seeing like properties, I sold a property for 125. The house next door was in tax foreclosure and they were living there. And I was like, do you know how much your house is worth? They only owe like 6,500 in back
Wow.
taxes. So I'm like, you can make over 100,000. And I know everybody don't want to leave, but in that situation, it's better to leave with 100,000 than to
Yeah,
leave by eviction, right?
yeah,
Exactly.
So
That 100,000, they can go cash out on something, or if they want to, they can go pay rent until they figure something out.
exactly.
But fear is our downfall. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is human beings, we don't like rejection. We're embarrassed if we're in a messed up situation. We don't want to share it with people because we don't want to be judged. I
I
mean,
think I'd be more embarrassed if my shit's sitting outside.
yeah, but if you just sitting in your shit and don't nobody know that you're in that situation because you're trying to keep up a certain facade, or you just don't want to deal with the facts of it, this is what the outcome is. And then and sometimes you just have those people that just don't know. They
Yeah.
just don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I went to go get my truck washed the other morning. I'll tell y'all this to get
Okay,
really
truck.
into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to get the truck washed. I had to be all white, right?
The stankin' Lincoln.
Right. With 10 miles on it.
Yeah, that. And I'm at the car wash and I'm like, so y'all ain't open yet? First off, ain't nobody trying to work right now. Okay. So I'm mad
Yeah.
as hell.
Yep.
I get up. I'm at the car wash before 9 o'clock. Like I'm about to get this quick detail real quick. My man's like, oh, we not doing interior. I'm like, what you mean you're not doing
Ain't
interior?
nobody doing interior since COVID.
No. He said that the workers don't get there until 11 or 12. What?
Yep.
So I'm like,
What?
okay. So as I'm backing up, this guy like, yo, baby girl. I'm stealing customers. I was like, that's not a good thing. You stealing customers. He like, but I mean, they ain't trying to work. I'm like, okay, you right. He like, what you do, baby? You look like you a businesswoman. I had on the
That's what
Where are
you
you at on Victor?
and I'm in that
Yes.
Lincoln, right? The phone ringing from the inside. So I'm like, oh, I'm in real estate. You in real estate? And what I say that for? So my man goes on to tell me that he been living in this house for 5 years. The first 2 years he was paying the rent. Now he not paying the rent because the lady that owned the house died and the family ain't came around. He like, but I really want the house. I'm like, well, you need to get in touch with the family. The typical. You got to probate. Man, I try to get with her. She don't want to talk to me. I'm gonna just go pay the taxes. I said that you will not do.
No.
Hey,
I said
that's what you're not gonna do.
you will not do them any favors. He was like, but if I go pay the taxes, then the house is mine, right? No, it is not, sir.
We just posted
We
that.
just posted that.
God.
That's my point. So then he like, well, don't I have squatter rights?
People just be making stuff up as they go.
I'm like,
But-
how about, he was
It's
like,
like
well, what
old.
should I do? I said, you should just stay there and stack your chips until they get ready to put you out if you can't afford to buy it or if they don't. How they going to just put me out? I said, because you don't own it. I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. You're not paying. They don't want to take your money. They don't want to take an offer from you. Stay there and stack your chips and just wait and see what happens.
Right, because he said he been there 5 years and he ain't paid rent in 3 years. Oh, he should be rich.
No, he's
Yeah,
not.
right.
He's not though.
Yeah, because he's still cleaning out cars.
He cleaned our cars, told me that. He was like, yeah, I'm over here off of such and such street. Call me if you. I was like, I will not come to you. Now you can come up to my office.
Right.
He said, pull up to his bumper, baby.
Right.
I'm good. But I mean, again, it's just folks don't know. Folks back on that. Let me go pay the taxes. I feel like I got it in, do I have squatter right?
It's the old wives' tale of the community. That's what they are. That's what I call them.
It's those urban myths.
Yeah.
Like every time I hear somebody say, I'm just gonna live here and I own the property, I'm like, that's just as easy as saying Candyman, he gonna pop out. Like it don't work like that. And I think we generation to generation it just passed down all those urban myths and we start believing them. Right. And that's just not the way to go.
Yeah.
I can't tell my family nothing about construction. I'd be like, all right, when your house fall, don't call me.
Right.
Same thing with my family in Title. They sitting up at the dinner table. We having some drinks, doing some barbecue. And, I don't even eat barbecue. And they talking about, oh, yeah, we about to get Uncle So-and-so house. I'm like, well, how y'all going to do that? Well, Auntie blah, blah, blah said, when Auntie blah, blah, blah get in the title industry? What the fuck is going on? I mean, what the hell is going on here?
Just eat your rib and sit back. That's all I do. I don't even get in conversations like that no more. Like when they talk about buying and selling, I be like, this drink is good.
Yeah.
Or when anything come out about money or something, what we gonna do? I just walk away like.
Yeah. It's crazy. Don't have family or go to everybody else and then call you after the fact because they jammed up.
Oh,
messed up.
Every time.
Man,
So have they put the list out for the auction yet?
I didn't. It's out.
Is it?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. I think I just seen it earlier. Yeah, it's out.
Now, don't they normally have like 2 rounds of an auction or something like
Yeah,
that?
but I don't think it's enough houses on there.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's So Detroit has over 2,500.
A
Um,
whole 2,500.
Mm,
yeah, and it's September and then it's October auction. So the September is when they're trying to collect all the back taxes, the interest, and the penalties, and whatever their cost is. And then October's, I kind of call that the leftover property.
yeah,
Yeah.
Now, this 2,500 is after they closed the books and then did the first right of refusal with all the different cities. And this is what's left over after the cities didn't take what they wanted, correct?
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can still pull properties during the auction too.
The city scan?
The county can.
Oh, the county
Yep.
scan.
And I tell people, like, if you're in the middle of a probate transaction, because I mean, this, like, they're serving those notices, but if the person just recently passed away or something like that, if you're in the middle of probate, like somebody passed and you open a probate case,
Hmm.
contact the county right away. They'll stop the foreclosure process. And in
That's
some
good.
cases, they'll stop it from going to auction, even if it's on the auction list.
I think that, I mean, you might want to post that because
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
unfortunate that has taken place with COVID,
Yep.
that may impact a ton of folks. So some kind of way we might need to post that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. I know as far as us being able to insure, we're not going to be able to do the in-house insuring on those because of just not being able to serve proper notice, by not being able to interact, and you can only do things from afar. The mail has been horrible.
Right.
horrible,
So,
horrible.
folks, you got
Hmm.
some folks that moved, nursing homes, passed away. You gonna have a ton of folks saying, "Well, I didn't know, I didn't know, I didn't know." So it's too risky for us to be able to say, "Yeah, we're gonna insure in house" because of the fallback that we may get from that. So
Right.
that's where the attorneys need to go ahead and gear up and start their quiet titles.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just as far as folks when they're bidding, how normally, and I presume you guys could tell me because this would be your area more than mine. But I always tell folks when you bidding on a property at the auction and you mapping out what you're about to spend on this acquisition, factor in that hot 2,000 for that quiet title.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the 2000, I always tell people, when you, because see, people think because you brought it from the county, it's automatically clear,
They sure
and
do.
that's not the case. If you're going to buy the property and maybe you're going to hold it for 10, 15 years, it's a rental property. I still recommend you do quiet title, but it's not as urgent as if you're trying to buy it and flip it right away. Because I've been on plenty of listings. I've taken listings, and I'm like, oh, this was a tax sale, and they put 40,000 into it, and I'm like, oh, you might run into an issue. So when we run title on the property, fortunately, most of them being lucky, but there's been times where we had to go through some stuff to clear their title.
Hmm.
Yeah, or at
I think
least go
I've been
ahead.
pretty lucky lately when we ordered them for you, and even be like, we
That's
good.
We
Yeah,
good.
that's been better, and that's what I was about to say. At least go ahead and get your FOIA after you. It don't make sense to really spend money on the front end. I have a lot of folks. Speaking of which, I got to call a guy back now this time he want to come in and invest. It really doesn't make sense to spend money on the front end for the title search and all that, unless someone's living in the property or they're squatting in the property, or it's the owners that's saying, "Yeah, I'm still here." And if you could verify that, you might be able to do a cash for keys or something. It
Yep.
saves you when I go to pull the FOIA and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's blah blah blah." And you're like, "Oh, you know what? I put them out. We had it out. We got a bad beef now." Well, shit, you just messed up your chances of getting a quicker
Yep.
clear title.
Yep.
Uh, but a lot of folks call me before they buy, talking about they want to do this, and I'm like, you buying tax foreclosure. It is what it is.
Yep.
Just wait, get it, know what you might have to spend on clearing the title, get the FOIA packet, and we'll move forward from there. But again, with these 2021s, already just factor having to do a quiet title.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I,
it's
yeah, I tell people that too. Like, if you buy a property that's occupied, If it's not the owner, if it's a squatter or a tenant, try to work out a cash for keys. I call it relocation assistance,
Okay.
right?
I like
Um,
that.
I'll give you, $1,000. You might have to negotiate depending on what you can get away with. It might be 1,000, it may be 2,000, or whatever the case may be. I give them one offer if they just vacate and they sign a waiver stating that I can throw out, all the personal items. I give them a higher amount if they clean the property out and leave it broom clean, right? So that way I don't have to go in and trash it out. But
That's crazy.
if it's the former owner of the property, then I try to include in there that they're going to sign over the deed as well, because part of that getting the FOIA, if they were the ones foreclosed on, depending on how title was, it's easier if you can just get that deed from them as well. Maybe a quick claim deed would work, right, Emma?
Yeah, quick
In
claim.
that
That's all they're
case,
gonna get. Yeah, quick
yeah.
claim deed.
So then this way we don't have to remove their interest from the property. That deed will work to remove their interest from the property.
But don't let them tell you that they the owner without.
Oh yeah, no, I'm bringing them
That's
to the title company. Meet me at the
exactly.
title company, same time, man. You're gonna get this check. I'm gonna get that
Yep.
paperwork,
Right.
Yep.
ID and everything, notarized. I'm gonna treat it almost like a closing.
Exactly. And that
Yeah,
Yup.
that's
because
that's
everybody
that's
gonna
key.
be the owner at that point. Oh, you giving up
Oh,
bread?
everybody already the owner right now, man.
Right,
I own that property.
because they paid the taxes.
Or
But
or they cut the grass.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one too.
Yeah, I
I've
cut the
been cutting
grass,
the
so I
grass for
own it.
2 years. Well, I
yeah,
put a fence around it.
no, they just crafty and they back to recording these damn deeds. I'm telling you, man, between the carved out and recut and paste deeds and the
Yup.
regular signature deeds, and we going back and looking at the mortgage of the real person and looking at this one, I'm like, oh my God, I don't have no more alcohol around here. What is happening? Man,
You
it's
see that
Crazy.
attorney that was doing the deed fraud?
no, I heard you talking about it though.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait a minute. It was a licensed attorney doing deed fraud?
he was an attorney. He was taking we actually know somebody. It was two sisters owned the property, and one of them passed like 2 years ago, and he deeded the property from the deceased person to somebody else. But this was after she died. So the surviving sister went to refinance, and they like, you can't refinance. Your name not on the property anymore. It shows the property was deeded out. So now she got to go through this whole legal thing. But he was on the news.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that
Dang.
up.
Yup.
Because the thing is, that's one area, and this is with anything, even with what we talking about as far as tax foreclosure, but a lot of what we do now, and a lot of title companies don't do this. So, they come on us always saying, oh, y'all doing too much. That's okay, we doing too much. You gonna close it, you wanna close right, or you don't. If it's
Exactly.
a if it's a handwritten deed or the uninsured deed, or it wasn't done by a title company or an attorney within the last 6 months to a year that pops up in the chain of title, we're saying that deed needs to be re-executed, or we need to verify the validity of that deed by speaking with the notary, speaking with the person that signed the deed, getting some ID or something. And I said we probably have to do this 20 times a month, and probably every month 5 of them are fallouts because it's fraud, just like that. And a lot of times we have been taken for the fact that an attorney drafted the deed. We was like, well, it was drafted by the attorney. He has a fiduciary duty, he or she. So we're gonna roll with it. Now we're gonna have to second think that.
Right. Can't trust
Yup.
nobody.
Yup.
Yeah. But no, it's crazy out here, I don't know. I don't know about y'all. Y'all tell me more about the tax foreclosure. That
But see,
end of it.
I think they changed the rules or added something to it. I think like if you want to be a two or more now, you got to put up 10,000
Well,
instead of 7,500.
that's always been the case. It's like I think it was 2,500 if you're doing one property, but
Yeah.
if you're doing more than one property, it's 10,000. But the way we used to get around it is there's investors that will have like a pool. So like let's say I put up 10,000, right? And I might charge you $100 to allow you to bid under my account. Because when
Mm,
you win the bid, I can determine what names I want each deed to go into. So
Right.
you had like you had some brokers doing that. They'll put up 10,000, and then they'll have like different buyers and investors come into their office and just sit down and bid all day. And you might pay that broker $100, you know what I'm saying, so you can bid under their account. Because you might want to buy 2 or 3 properties. You don't know if you're gonna get them, so you don't want to put up $10,000, right? You might initially only want to put up 2,500.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I've never bid it at the auction. I normally like try to get people before it got to the auction. I just get the deed and then sell it that way,
Yeah.
or either keep it and then I just go get on the payment plan or something. It depends on how early in the year I do it, because I know like after probably June, I think it's a wrap. Or can you sell a house even though it's on the foreclosure list before the auction?
No, the county owns it.
Oh, ain't
Yeah.
no way around that.
No, no. Now here they're saying to make a bid on one or more properties, a deposit of 2,500 must be put down.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's for one property.
yeah. I put the link in the comments too. So they you can also buy the properties that wasn't sold in the 18 and the 19 auction. We didn't have a 2020. So that means people is like really gonna be 5 years behind on their taxes instead of 3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here's another thing too that I just did because y'all know I always end up playing around when we talking about this stuff. So I just went and re-registered for the auction as far as online, and now you have to submit a copy of your ID front and back through DocuSign, and they verify it before you sign and accept the rules. So that means if you break any of these rules, they're coming after you. Before they didn't. I mean,
Mm.
they attempted to be
Wait,
based
break
upon
what
information.
rules?
What you mean break what rules? The
Like,
bidding rules.
The
oh, the
bidding
bid rules.
rules.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what
And
rules?
also to verify more likely if you would deposit in the accounts and everything that you're using. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
Because didn't they say if like you owed, or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but if you owed if you had delinquent blights or other stuff,
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
you couldn't bid or something like that.
Right. So that's one part of it. They make you sign like that affidavit that you if you have blight or delinquent taxes in the county that they don't want you can't bid. Um, but then what Marcus was saying too, like a lot of people was bidding on these properties. Let's say you got 2,500 on deposit and you bid 10 grand on a property and you don't show up with the money. Now they have all of these properties that they got to put back into a different batch or they didn't
Mm-hmm.
close. Because once you bid, you took that property off the market pretty
Mm-hmm.
much once you were the winning bidder.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Do they for so if in that situation, if you was the winning bidder and you don't close, you forfeit your 10 grand, right?
Yeah, or your
Your
2,500.
2,500
Yeah.
Right.
deposit.
But they can also take legal action against you too. They
Yep.
just haven't been enforcing it as much. But now that they got your ID up front,
Uh,
they might
yeah.
be being a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, because they
Oh
can't
yeah.
just probably garnish like their account or something. Because you can just go close your bank account, I guess,
Yeah.
but you can't just
Yeah. Yeah.
spend your ID.
They still want that hot 10. That's right here. They ain't playing with that hot 10.
They also have this year, I don't know how many people gonna file for it, but they have that claim now. I think it was a lawsuit or something. I think it was actually started in Oakland County because they were saying the technically whoever lost the house supposed to get a portion of the amount of the proceeds,
Yeah.
the difference between the sales price and what was owed in taxes. But
Mm.
there's a claim you have to file, and there's a form. But I think it goes up to the Michigan Supreme Court or something. I'll have to read more on it, but it's on the website. It's under claims on their website, and there's a form.
Yeah, I do remember some whispers about that earlier in the year.
Yeah, I don't know how
But you know what's
successful.
crazy though? That's cool, but how many people gonna fill the damn paper out?
Right.
Well, I mean, we may think that people didn't do it, I mean, years leading up to now, but right now people are financially strapped. And if you get one attorney that, become a voice for everyone, who knows? You know how they do. Remember when at one point they had the one attorney that was trying to sue the county for the tax foreclosures, saying that they was taking their properties and yada yada yada. Look how many people you had jump on that.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
only need one loud voice,
Yeah.
which again is another reason why it's going to be difficult for us to be able to say, oh, send me your 2021s and we're going to insure. It's so many red flags with being able to do that whole, let me look at the FOIA and see if it meets the underwriter guidelines for the 2021s. Like, we really don't do it on a lot of the 2019s unless it's flat out a good sign notice, because of, it's the risk is there. It's 2019. The older the foreclosure, the less risk.
Right.
So, we've kind of fell back on that. But I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've been looking at has been 18 and back.
Yeah.
Or the 19s have been pretty good. They haven't been bad.
So what's the time frame? So like, is it like 7 years or 10 years to where you don't necessarily consider doing quiet title? So if somebody brought something in a tax sale from like 2010, will you just insure it automatically?
Yeah.
Okay.
2010, creeping up on 2011,
Okay.
2012, we're like, you know, it's good, unless there was something else going on with the title, like a break in the chain of title or something like that had no impact with the foreclosure. But if it was just a tax foreclosure, but 2010 is not even open for discussion.
All right.
2011, we may raise the 2011 if there's sometimes one property can have three foreclosures on it. 2011, 2013, 15, whatever. Then we'll put them all on the title. But if we're just looking at, because it falls under the old tax act.
Okay.
So yeah, we're good to go. So
Right.
anything 2013 and back, it's like whatever. A lot of people be like, oh, it's 5 years old. You don't have to worry about it. There's really no statute on if someone decided 6 years from now they mad at this county and they don't know how nothing better to do and they want to just sue the county because they felt like they watching their property and now it was taken. They could file a lawsuit. Nothing
Right.
stops you from filing a lawsuit. Now, is your
Yeah.
lawsuit relevant? Are you going to get your property? Did you know you need to pay your taxes? Absolutely. But do you have nothing but time on your hand and you want to file a lawsuit? Nothing stops you from doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when people be like, I don't even know why you need to look at the 4 years. It's 5 years, and you know,
Right.
but yeah, if you 10 years back, we don't worry about it.
All right.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So another thing, I think me and Emma mentioned this before. Like a lot of times when you buy these properties from the tax sale, the minute you get your deed, you need to contact the water department and get
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
your
Yes,
water
yes.
bill zeroed
and
out.
blights, and
And
blights.
blight.
Yep, and blights. Because
Yep.
if you wait a year or two after you rehab the property and you come to me to list the property, and then all of a sudden it's a $3,000 water bill, trying to get the water department, most people being lucky, but the longer you wait, the worse it get.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
and what they do, they have been going back because remember at one point, all you had to do was just go in there and show your deed, and they instantly made some write offs and stuff. Well, like maybe the last year or two, they're like, oh, if you got it from the county, but now it's been sold, we don't have to honor the write off. But then
yeah,
there was the argument of, but wait a minute, I don't really care if I was the person that bought it or not. It was a tax foreclosed property and water was considered a lien. So technically you really should. So what they do is they'll prorate the bill. They'll write off the majority of it, but they'll look at the date from when you bought it from the county
Absolutely.
or whomever bought it at the county. So if you got a $3,000 bill, they're prorated. You may still end up owing some of that bill. And it's not so much that you can get it waived, it's how long it takes. And
yeah,
what people got to understand, if it's a 300 meter and we don't have a 301 and a 302, I'm not playing with you in this old water bill, because if you don't get it handled, that 300 is going to transfer to that 301 or that
yeah,
302. So I'm going to hold this money in escrow and give you time to get it figured out. So
No, don't hold my money in escrow.
yeah.
you want a clause?
But depending on how much my check was, you can keep that little 300.
Asia, like Hey, that's not Aquarius talking, cause I'll be like
Right?
$500 or 50,000. You ain't holding my 50 for no
So
500.
depending on how much my spread was, I might have to charge that one
But
to the
the
game.
crazy thing is, it don't be 500. Marcus know them bills. You know, if you know that you about to get foreclosed up on, you ain't paying no water bill.
Right.
You ain't paying nothing. So them bills be like $3,000, and because they
Yep.
didn't know that they needed to turn that paperwork in to the county and get the new meter and do all this, and it's a 300 account. They, I mean, they upset about $3,000, and I'm like, I feel you, but what you want me to do?
Yeah, like Balfour got, I think I owe 2,700 now. I done paid it down. I just paid it down just enough for them to come set up the meter.
Yep.
But you know, but
We
they'll
get the
tell
rest of that at
people,
closing.
in a heartbeat, oh no, that was a county bill, don't worry about it. But when the new owner goes to try to get the water on, and they quickly don't want to transfer that balance over to that 301, that 302, or that 308, like real quick, and then be like, oh, we didn't know this was a tax foreclosure. Yeah, you knew. You knew, water department. So, and the same thing with the blights. The blight division will dismiss those blights if you go and you show them that it was a tax foreclosure, and you know it wasn't obviously privy to you. Because when people go up there, they be like, well, the city said, you know, these aren't my blights. I get what the city said, but if I put this name, if I put this address in the site, and all these blights come up, it's associated with this house number. I don't
Mhm.
know what you want me to do.
Another thing is once you get your deed, make sure that you fill out the property transfer affidavit because you don't know how many people.
Wait till
I
the last
never
minute.
got any
But
notices. I never got any tax
but the
bills. I
county
didn't
does that
know.
now. It's a requirement. They file it.
Mm-mm. You still need to do it yourself. You need to hand walk it down.
No, they do it.
The
Not from what I
county's doing
recall.
it now.
Marcus
The
don't
county,
trust it.
they've been doing that since about a year or so.
Mm-mm. Well,
Oh,
they've been doing a very not so great
Probably
job at it.
slow. They probably slow with it.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'll correct myself by the next show. But I thought they were making that mandatory as
They were
part of
making a
your
mandatory that is filled out.
that it was filed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the only reason I'm thinking this is because you know we got a few guys that be at one point they was buying 20 and 30 at a time, and they didn't have to go and file all that. All that was part of when they got their deed and everything.
I don't never. I always remember them emailing or mailing the deeds.
I
I don't ever
remember
remember
that.
them.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that too.
So
But either way, Marcus' point is make sure that damn thing is filed.
right.
Facts.
So the day you
Please
get
make
your
sure them black.
deed, take your deed to the water department, get it zeroed out, and then make sure you do your property transfer affidavit.
And then order your FOIA. Order
Yep.
your FOIA yourself. Don't wait on the title company. Don't go waiting on your agent. Just go on online, fill out the form, and get your FOIA packet. Because if you know you about to flip this onto the retail market, you need to go on and have it looked at.
Speaking of agents, some of these new agents, they Reg and Marcus, y'all need to do some type of class because I seen her the other day and old girl just didn't come. I'm like, so how am I supposed to get in? And the attendant's like, who are you? I'm like, who are you? I was told the house is vacant. And
We
they're
was
like,
just
well,
talking about that. It is so time for the class again.
I'm
It's
man,
like,
time
yeah,
it
for
she
the
is.
vacant.
class.
And then the attendant like, well, the agent told me you was coming at 6. I'm like, I don't see nobody house at 6. So that wasn't me.
Yeah.
It's time for the class again. And no disrespect, I love all my agents, my investors, my flippers, my buyers, my sellers, whatever. But we were just talking about the foundation. You
Yeah,
know,
Yep.
they
we've
be
kind
doing
of
Yes.
gotten away
Yes.
from the old school
What was I
foundation.
doing the night that Emma missed our little get together? What was I doing? Was at the cigar bar. I was schooling everybody at the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
he was up there preaching. And like I
yes,
said, y'all
and,
need to be doing this.
and it's
What I
true.
tell them? I tell them straight face. No, you cannot. It's against the law. No,
Yes,
no
yes.
matter how you spin it, it's no.
We all got so used to wanting to just click a button or doing a Zoom or whatever, but you gotta have that old school foundation
That's
in
right.
order to be
Yep.
able to stay up on whatever we doing now, man.
Yeah, like now I
It's
know
time for a
Detroit got
class.
we got a rep for like nobody in Detroit be on time, self included. We give everybody 15-20 minute grace. But how we go from a 3 o'clock appointment to a 6 o'clock, baby, that's my nap time. I don't see nobody
Yeah.
out at 6 o'clock. Like, how did
Yeah.
you like talking about, oh, I got you mixed up with somebody else. How? I'm sure the other person wasn't the girl. Like,
Well,
It's
I
a,
mean,
doing
you
them
know,
up.
you're talking about on the customer service end. I'm talking about how did we get all the way to close and we don't have clear title? And I mean, and that's
yeah.
all the way down
because
to a
because
spec.
again, everybody is a rogue agent. So for instance, when I don't say when I was coming up, Lord Jesus, but anyway, long story short is we had to keep our brokers involved in our deals, and that's what I tell my agents. I have to be involved. I need to see the title. Don't hit me with it when it's finally somebody from the office is already pushed back. Let me know ahead of time.
Right.
But yeah, those are the things that they don't read the title work, because a
They
lot of
don't
companies
know. They don't
They
know
don't. Some of
how.
them don't
they don't
even
know
know.
how, they don't
Right.
read it, they don't even look at first, but I don't even know they got it in their email sometimes. And I
Right.
thank you, Emma, all the time because you guys send supporting documentation. Any other title companies, they send the report. That's it. They don't explain nothing. They don't tell them nothing. This is like, here's a PDF attached to your email. Have a good day.
And you
But
know
you got
what's so
to let
crazy?
him.
What's so crazy is we're always on the phone. I mean, we're constantly on the phone, and people be like, "We can never get you." That's because I'm on the phone going over the title work with you line by line. You're used to calling another title company, they like refer to your title and go get an attorney. You
Yep.
don't realize you're getting a real service here because I'm on the phone telling you what you need to do. But
Right.
again, that goes back to the old school way of
Yeah.
doing things, man. This new age shit is killing me. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's a new generation because, like I was just telling one of my agents, like I'm in the middle of we're like in the middle of a transition or a shift because the way people are doing business now sometimes frustrate me, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, for example, we got the new Century lock boxes. We had them what about 3 years, Marcus? 3 or 4 years. So you have to have an app on your phone to access the lockbox. So you schedule a showing, you have your app. When you get there, just Bluetooth connect to your phone, and you can open the
Lucy.
door. Right now, if you don't have the app, I can send you a 1 day code that's good for that day, and I know I assigned it to you, right, or the contractor, whoever need access. It's tons of agents that don't even have the damn app on their phone, and they're calling you at 7:30 on a Friday in 10-degree weather. Like, I'm here at the property. I need a 1 day code. And it's like, why didn't you call me 4 hours ago when you knew you were showing this property? So,
Or the day before.
or
Like,
yeah,
how
the
about you
day
just don't have an
before.
app on your phone? You got Twitter on your phone.
Yeah, you,
Listen,
you got
Reg,
Candy Crush.
I went to the meeting. I went to the meeting when they first introduced those electronic lock boxes. It was Century Lock there. It was Supra. It was on
Yep.
another company. Three. They did a presentation at a real estate conference, whatever. But anyway, I thought that this was going to be the best meeting ever. Okay, I'm like, this is going to be great. Ain't gonna be no pushback. When I tell you it's a room full of mad people, or what about people who don't have a smartphone? I'm like, you need to get out the business, sir.
Right.
Like, if
I'm
you
gonna
still
say
in
that
that
was
old
probably the
system, you
old
need to
people.
go.
That was probably the senior citizen.
Yep. And that's why I said,
Yeah, it mostly was, but it was a lot of people that was opposed to it, and I was very surprised about it.
But I
yeah,
mean, it's a catch-22 because I mean, in our industry, whether you're old or you young, you got to figure out to meet somewhere in the middle. You know,
Yeah,
like I'll do the whole text thing. You text me, hey, can I get a closing day? Blah blah blah. But if you didn't text me the third time, hello, what are you trying to do right now? Because we texting too much and we're gonna
yep,
get lost in translation somewhere. You're gonna say I told you 2 o'clock, and I'm gonna say no, I meant 2 o'clock at the house. Let's just get on the phone and talk, you know. So some
Right.
stuff technology is good for the app and the whatever it is you guys do, but some stuff can you pick up your phone so we can talk? Then they throw you the voicemail talking about just text me. I'm not gonna talk to you. I don't want to talk.
so
I don't want to talk.
that explained, like, when I was saying we're in a transition, because like somebody somebody said we're gonna write an offer on your property, right? This agent literally drove to my office and dropped the offer off to my office. I'm like, we
And
don't
oh
do
wait,
that
paper.
anymore. Yeah, like printed paper in a package, which is cool, but I'm like,
wow,
you could have saved the gas and parking fee, right?
that's like faxing it.
Yeah, but then on
Yeah.
the flip side, I got a new agent. I'm like, you got the final water bill yet? They text me a picture of it. So I'm like, I'll see if the title company will accept this. A lot of title companies won't. So now I gotta download this text image, put it in my, send it over in my email to the title company, and
Take
Sure.
it
they
out
like,
being a JPEG to a PDF.
yeah, and I'm like,
Right.
you creating work for me, and you don't have the back, so I don't know how this work. I don't even know if it's the real bill or not. So it's just that transition between new and old, and we're trying to adapt to how everybody's doing business or how they're used to doing business.
I mean, I get text purchase agreements all the time. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
can
Seven
you
pages,
can
seven
you
pictures of a
yep,
purchase agreement.
yeah,
Yeah,
or I'm
somebody
like, we
did that
need
to me one
we need
time.
to
I deleted that
operate.
whole thread. I was just
I'm
like,
like,
yep.
we need to operate an agreement. Literally, bling, bling. Are you text picturing me the operating agreement? Is that what we're doing right now? You don't want to close. I
Right.
mean, I'm
Feels like with
like,
all this insurance stuff with these FEMA floods and stuff, people be sending me stuff. I'm like, you gonna text me a FEMA report and that bitch like 40 pages?
No. Yeah.
but where we get jammed up at, and sometimes we do have to call, like DocuSign is great, Authentisign, and all that stuff is great. But people fail to realize when you calling me talking about a mutual release and somebody getting their EMD back or their
Yep.
occupancy back or
yeah,
something that could be a potential dispute, a DocuSign doesn't always work for me, especially with the EMDs.
yeah,
Because
Yep.
Yeah.
we got jammed up on one where the guy DocuSigned the other name and said that they were supposed to get the EMD. And we moving too fast and didn't do the verbal check. And yeah, it was the opposite. So, folks be like, hey, again, that's you doing too much, but y'all don't understand. We're an insurance company.
yeah,
That's just like with checks. If I write you a check and you don't look at it to make sure it's right or what have you, and you walk out my office and talking about come back 10 minutes later or 10 hours later talking about, oh, this check is wrong, it should have been blah blah blah, or I can't cash it, can you put it in two, or I don't have a bank account, so can you give me 3 checks so I can go to 3 different
Girl,
cashing
man.
offices. And I'm
That
like, oh
happens
yeah,
all
I
the
don't I
time.
don't make shit up. Or
That
I don't
happens
make
all
shit
the
up. Like
time.
I
all
know
the
I don't make
time.
shit up. But my
No.
point to that is you got to wait because now I got to do a stop pay on that check. Why? Because you can take a picture of the damn check
And
and
upload it.
deposit it into your account, and now come in here talking about you can't cash your check. Can you get another one? And
Mhm.
trust, I know that can happen because it happened.
Yep.
It happened when they first started doing those, taking pictures of the checks.
To
Some chick
deposit.
she had an online account, and she took a picture of the check. But then when she found out that it was going to be a 7 to 10 day hold, she tried to cancel that that image deposit and called us and was like, "Oh, can I get a new check?" Well, we was going through the motions of doing what we do anyways, but the check showed up as already being pending. And we're like, she was like, "Oh yeah, well I did try to do it through my phone app, but they told me it was gonna be a hold, so I just canceled it." You didn't think it was important to tell us that?
Right.
No.
Yeah, so I just this new age shit, I'm with it, but when it comes to what we do, being an insurance company, or you guys being agents, or even you, Asia, having your business as a construction company, everything for me goes back to the foundation,
Yep.
and I have to build from there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't know, man. It's time for some.
Well,
It's time for some more
I'm going to
classes.
say I'm going to put together a class for how to read, and Emma, I need your help how to read a title report because that's one of the biggest things. I'm like, you didn't read it. It was right here on the title report. The taxes aren't paid. It's not in their name. like,
Now I
I
got
said,
this one, Emma. Like when you send like the title report and stuff, I've had people once I told them about like, look, this is what you got to do to proceed, to make sure everything right. They're still quick claiming with the person and then be mad later on when shit fucked up. I'm like, I told you the proper procedure. You just
Yep.
didn't want to pay Emma the $75. I'm sure you spent $75 on a crab boil today. You couldn't
oh
pay Emma
yeah,
$75.
actually,
and
more
and,
likely
and,
98 at Hook and
and the
Reel, but
crazy thing is,
The
75
point
is really
is,
only 75 is really only half of the search fee because the
right?
search fee 150.
Yep.
But I did say I was going to start now that the fall is setting in. I said, like, for instance, Marcus, you get all your agents at your office. We just come by and have an evening and go
Hmm.
over titles. You know, same thing with you, Reg. I was like, it's time, man.
It is
But
time. I
I
agree.
love the new agents. I love the enthusiasm, and I love
Yes,
clear
the energy.
flows and all of that. But y'all need the foundation. I mean,
Yeah.
you get the foundation, you could be bigger and better and better. You know.
So what we have now too, we got to realize too, like the concept of real estate teams is bigger than what it used to be. It's fairly new, like within the past 10 years, but
Mm,
it's even more so now. So the way a lot of teams are set up, like I'm a team leader, I got several agents under me. So some teams are set up where you go out, you show a house, you write that offer, it gets accepted, you turn it into the team leader who has an assistant that orders title, that does all of the back end stuff, and you just out selling more houses. So some of these new agents, even though they're very successful, they're not learning all the back end stuff. They're not learning how to read title. So somebody else is saying, "Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Johnson, you have a tax lien. We need the last four of your social security number." Then that person is calling Emma and coordinating everything for them. The agent don't know anything about what's going on. They're just out doing more deals. So that's a good thing for the agent, but it's also a bad thing because when they decide to go out on their own, they don't know anything.
absolutely. That's exactly what I was about to say, Reggie. When they become a broker themselves, after all those $1 million of transactions, you get brokers out here that be like, I need the EMD because my seller signed the bottom of it, but my buyer never bottom lined it, so we didn't have enough.
But
Yep.
I mean, I
But
got
to
one
be a broker,
benefit.
don't you gotta know all that? Like, ain't that a part of y'all test or something, or no?
Well, it's you
No, not
gotta have
really.
at least 3 years and a certain number of transactions to become a broker. But it's still like dealing with Emma, they're not going to teach that in class,
No,
right?
that's not
And
even.
that's
So,
what I was about to say. But
yep,
for me, and I hear you guys saying that they're going out on their own, but you guys can acknowledge that how you are and knowing what you know about title, it makes you better at your job when you're on your listing.
Hmm.
Because when you're having a conversation with your seller and they mention something about, oh yeah, me and my wife separated, or we
Hmm.
just recently filed
yep,
for divorce, or yeah, I ran into some complications with the IRS. Instantly, your light bulbs come on where you're going to ask them certain questions right there while you're at the listing. You're going to set
right,
their expectations, or you're going to
Yep.
get information from them at that time just because you know. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
yep.
not saying they got to know what we know, from a title perspective, but some of the basic stuff just makes you a better salesperson and makes the deal go smoother. I mean,
Yeah, I had
just
a
a
lady
regular
today. She
conversation.
her husband passed away in 2008, and the house is still in her and her husband's name. And she's just like, well, I want to, she's like, I'm gonna go downtown and fix the deed. I was just like, well, they can't help you downtown. I was like, you need
Right.
to contact an attorney and or a title company. Um, and when I did look at it, it was just the husband, the husband name, the wife name, and it just says his wife. It didn't say joint tenants, whatever. So I was like, you
Full
definitely
license of birth.
contact an attorney and or a title company so they can assist you with this.
Yeah,
Yep.
something like that. Or
But
now
I
that's
just think if it was a different agent, they would have been like, oh no, we can just do a quick claim deed, take him off, put you on, and we good. Like,
exactly. Or say nothing. Don't even prep them for the death certificate. Or one better, because in that case you would have been okay. Because if they was on it together, you record the deed and you good. But if it had been a situation where he was on it by himself,
hmm,
and she said, and they were married, but he was the only one on title. And she said that, ding, 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 you know what? You wasn't on title with him. You got to open up probate.
hmm,
You see what
Yep.
I'm saying? Versus getting the deal on lock, getting a hot cash buyer. The market is ready to go, and this buyer ready to go. And now you like, what? I got to do what?
Right.
And I don't know.
And we,
I
we
guess I'm
got it.
just on a rant this week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
but
got a
that,
lot
you
of
know what
people.
though, it's good because this all goes towards the Wayne County auction because these are the issues that come along when buying these houses.
Facts.
Duh. Oh, and you know what else comes with that? What we find a lot of after you acquire your property from the auction. And I think Shaka was talking about this. You get the property, but you got some other projects going on, so you probably gonna just let it sit for a minute. And you're gonna deal with it. And if you got squatters in there, or you got folks in there, you need to have your property checked regularly for the
Yep.
records, because all kind of fraud. I mean, we have deeds pop up in the chain of title after tax foreclosure. You know, the
Mhm.
squatter saying, the owner deeded this to me. Now you got this fraudulent deed out there. So you just bought this property at the auction. Now you may have dumped some money in it because now you're trying to get it fixed up and you done paid evictions and all this other stuff. And then you pull your title and now you got a fraudulent deed. Guess
Yeah.
what? It cannot be ignored. It cannot be ignored. You got to file a Wayne County. You got to open up a Wayne County fraud case. You got to report that. Then you got to turn around and start a quiet title action.
Right. Wayne
So
Wayne County gonna have to start making people come in person with their ID to transfer a deed if
They
they not
do.
using if
You
they're
do.
not using a title company.
They do.
I'm
If
talking
you
about the seller of the deed.
I'm
oh,
wondering when
I'm
are
about to
they?
say anybody recording now, you have to show your ID.
You
Yeah,
got to
but
show your
they should
ID, but they don't.
they
They tell you they got all them signs. Y'all know we're not attorneys. We don't give legal advice.
yeah,
We
that's
need to
true.
see.
Well,
You
I'm just
know,
glad. I'm just glad that I mean, because most people have to go down to record it. So I'm glad that they're looking at ID, so they have a point of contact with somebody that was at that window recording it, even though if
Right.
that
it
means
might have been the
zero.
original seller, huh?
That means nothing, Marcus.
Oh, it does.
Well,
No.
it it doesn't mean a lot as far as the title sense, but I think it's
In the
just an extra
investigation,
step. Yeah, because
You
a
mean
lot of
from the
these
fraud?
people,
yeah, from the defraud unit. I mean,
yeah,
it
because
gives them a basis to start with. Before they had no clue who recorded it. But
right,
now it's kind of like they can go back to the footage and they can clearly get a copy of the ID because the agent now takes it from you and they hold it up at a certain angle so they can be recorded. And then they give it back to you.
So if it's so you thinking if somebody go in there and turn around and say I want to report fraud on this property, they can go back to that record and see who brought the document
Because
in
it's
as
time,
a
the
starting
information is
point.
time stamped. So it should correspond with whatever window they were at, whatever person, whoever recorded it, the window, the time stamp, the date and time. So they should be able to pull that footage and see who it was. And if they can't, say for instance, I got on a hat now and I'm like this, they got my ID or an
Well, what
ID.
if I was just coming down there as a friend? I'm a clerk. Hey, I work for such and such. You want me to come down and just okay? I'll go record your deed. I don't know that the shit fake. I'm just going in as a
Okay,
clerk,
so
making
it goes
sure
back to the clerk. But what I'm saying is that
it's a
they had
starting
no,
point.
it has a starting point. So that
yeah,
clerk is when you tell that clerk, I'm gonna fire you, you're gonna lose your job, we're gonna prosecute you. Listen, they're gonna sing like a canary. They're gonna be just as yellow as this shirt I got on. I'm telling you.
Well, I wish they'd
because
start
here
doing something because the deeds ain't stopped.
because here's what was happening. Like you got a lot of people like back in the REO days, we would have people committing deed fraud, and somebody would be like, "I just gave this person, $20,000 cash, and they deeded me the property over." And I say, "Well, who was the person?" And they'll just sign a name, but there was no ID. I said, "You didn't copy their ID. You don't have anything, and you just recorded this deed." Now the county is just recording a quitclaim deed, but there's no way to figure out who this person was because remember, a lot of people was given actual cash money.
Mm-hmm.
So like if there's no deed, there's no record, there's no nothing, and the county doesn't know anything and they're just recording a quitclaim deed, I think having some ID would be a start. It's not going to prevent it, but at least you could say, okay, this is the picture of the person who recorded it.
But
Right?
here's the thing. But there's a difference with me going down and recording a deed because I feel like I have a valid interest in somebody committing actual fraud.
Well, that's why I say I think the person signing the deed over or selling the deed should have to be present with their ID.
Okay.
Because I believe that, and I'm not saying it's going to stop anything, but if you're committing fraud, it's, I doubt if you want to go to the county and give them your ID, right? Because at that point, you got your picture and you got your ID. Even if you're giving a fake ID, they got your photo on record saying I deeded this property to
And
this
I'm saying I'm
person
that person.
and I
Yeah.
collected $20,000. If they do that, I think that'll kind of cut back on some of the deed fraud a little bit,
But
right?
again, what's your definition of deed fraud?
You created a fraudulent deed, or maybe because you have people out here signing a fake, they're forging signatures too,
Now that's deed fraud.
right?
I'm forging a signature. But if a deed just pops up in the chain of title and I sign my signature, I created a deed. and I gave Marcus a quitclaim deed, but I didn't get a deed, but I signed my signature and gave him a deed. I didn't forge anyone's name.
That's
I
true.
just, you know what I'm saying? I'm
Yep.
not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is people go down there and some people don't know that they had the deed from the land contract holder that they should have recorded that. All they
Right.
knew is that they was in a land contract, they paid it off, and now they didn't know that they had to get a deed, but they knew they paid it off, and now they could sell their shit. So now they deeded over to Marcus. That's technically not deed fraud. It's just a gap in the chain of title
Right.
because it's a deed missing. You see what I'm saying? Now that's a logic sense. Some people do
Right.
that and don't even have a deed. But if I go in there saying I am Marcus and I forge his signature on his signature, that's deed fraud.
Right. But a person wouldn't do that if they had to show their ID and show
True.
up in person
Yes,
because
less likely. Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
less
it's less
likely
likely.
somebody gonna
And
show up and be like,
these damn notaries are less likely to go wrong with the shit if they,
exactly.
yeah,
That's true.
Yep.
But also, that's what I think they need to start holding the notaries accountable too, because I mean, you're saying
Oh,
that you're
trust, they
supposed to.
do.
Yeah, that's true.
They do.
Yep.
But
You're right. They do.
they go after some notaries for the wrong shit. The
Yeah.
notaries have to be more cause see me, you can't pay me no $5 or $10. I don't care if I wasn't a title person, I was just doing notaries. I'm not coming. You want me to do what for $10? I'm not notarizing you for that. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I'm not. I'm not
That part.
knocking nobody's hustle, but I need to know the nature of the transaction. Why
That's
you
right.
put me in?
That's
What
right.
what what you got me notarizing again?
That's
Where
right.
are the players at? But
Right.
folks
Listen,
get that
and
notary
I
and they
review
want
me. I review it. If it's incorrect, I'm not notarizing it.
exactly.
Mm,
But again, folks take the NNA class and they do all this. And we was talking about this today, Ronnie and I was. And it goes back to being a closer and being a notary. You can take the NNA class, you can sit online and watch all the videos, and you can go to all the conferences, but until you do it real life, you really don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at the IDs, you got to look at the names, you got to look at the power of attorney versus a guardianship. It's so much involved with notarizing the damn document. Like people come in
mhm.
here like, I heard y'all draft deeds. Yeah, I do a quick claim deed for you, but we pull in the last deed to make sure that you are the person that can do the quick claim deed. Well, I
Mhm.
ain't
Right.
asked for a search. I know you didn't ask for a search, but I'm not about to just willy-nilly do a quick claim deed either and mess up the chain of title.
Right.
You know, Goes back to the notary. Be held accountable. If you're gonna be in that profession, understand the role that you play because you're playing a key part in tangling up some title or being a part of fraud and may not even know it because you didn't ask the right questions.
Mhm.
Yep.
You know, so I don't know. Start holding their ass accountable to a higher degree. They do go after some notaries, but they go after them on bullshit. So
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I just go on another rant?
No, but it's all a part. These are all the things that happen when you're buying a house from the Wayne County auction. This once you bid, these are the issues you may encounter. I mean, this
Right.
is what it is. This is the truth. Like,
How do you get insurance on these houses? Did you guys look into that insurance I sent you?
Yep. So I got a company that I use, and people can contact me offline for that too. But it's actually a few companies. So there's a rehab policy where they insure the amount of the purchase plus the estimated cost of renovations. But if something happened like a fire or something, they're only going to pay you. Say, for instance, Asia's doing my job for me and it's an $80,000 renovation, right? But I've only paid out 40,000. They're only going to cover that 40,000,
okay.
right? But the deductible is high. The insurance is cheap. You pay it monthly, but the deductible is high. So it may be like a $5,000 deductible. So this may not be ideal for a $10,000 property, and you're only going to put 15 or 20 into it. And you're doing the work yourself. But like, I think right now I'm paying like 160 a month for a property. I got 136 all in, and it's a short-term policy. It's for 1 year, but it covers everything. So in that case, if it's a fire, of course I want that insured. Once I get the property completely renovated, I can switch my policy over. So it's basically for vacant properties that's under renovation, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
folks need to know about that because I came across another insurance company. I think I popped it over to Asia, Ronnie, and Marcus to look into it because I didn't know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
Anytime I come across stuff, I just be like, "Yo, check this out," because it might be a good resource. Because shifting gears a little bit, I think it was a couple of days ago. I was something came across my page where the lady had bought from the land bank
Yep.
and put like what 40 in it or so, single mom or something,
Yeah.
and they went in and basically borrowed everything to put it next door.
Yep.
So a situation like that is like how could she have gotten insurance, or should she have had insurance? I guess.
She
Yeah.
could
That.
have like on my flips, I do I just put a liability policy on there under the company. I do builder's risk. So if
But
anything
she wasn't a
happens,
builder.
that's
The
true.
one, oh really?
Yeah.
But I think maybe she could do like an umbrella policy or something. Because like I know TJ, he just got like a big umbrella liability policy on all his properties.
Hmm.
But
So
she,
if you buy property from the auction and it's got tenants or squatters or however people still living there, let me put it like that. I don't want to use the word squatter. Um, would you get insurance just in case you guys like
Yeah.
Yeah.
bad blood or
and I wouldn't even tell the insurance that they're squatting. I have tenants.
No, you wanna
You
let them
gotta tell
know.
them. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's different policies you can get. I would just say call a few different insurance agents and let them know the situation, because if it's like squatters in there, there's a limit to what they're willing to insure.
Yeah.
My main concern is whatever I got invested, I want to get it back in
Yep.
case something major happened, right? So that's why I do like the rehab insurance policy for my renovation properties versus something that's tenant occupied already or something like that.
Okay.
A lot
So
of people buy these tax sale properties and they have no exit strategy. They don't have
None.
right.
insurance. They
Nothing.
just like, I'm gonna get it and just wing it.
Yeah.
So insurance, like we said early, go get the water bills cleared, go
Yeah.
get the blight cleared.
Yeah.
Because people will get these properties closed. The contractors will take your money. They'll fix it up and
Sure
put it
will.
back on, you put it back on the market. The agent will list it for you. But when you get a buyer, especially if that buyer's getting a mortgage, then you go to run title, then it's like all downhill from there. You like, I
Mhm.
Yep.
can't even sell this property. I'm
Yep.
80,000 into it. I was trying to make this quick 125,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you run into a title issue, and that sad look
Yeah.
on
They're
their
real. And
face.
then you calling my phone every day because I'm the third title company you done came to, and they told you to come to me in the first place. I just want to put that part in there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
And then
Or
they yelling at the agent and the broker about, well, why nobody ain't tell me about the water bill? Oh, why nobody ain't tell me about the blight before I listed it?
yep.
yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
do or you end up having to do quiet title anyway, and it's going to take a couple months, 3 months, maybe longer now, and the buyer just like, I'm not going to wait.
Yep.
Right now, you're sitting with this vacant house that you put all this money into. You put the water tank and the furnace in because you thought you were going to close in the next couple of days. Now you got to go and watch this property and babysit it for another 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to take care of this stuff on the front end as soon as you close on these tax sale properties. Like,
Yep.
I don't even buy properties I don't have an exit strategy for.
Yep.
I need to know, the first thing I need to know, if I buy this property at this amount, can I put it back on the market in a month and get a profit or at least break even? That's like number one, right?
Hmm.
Then number two, if I put this amount of money into it, can I make my money at a profit, or what are the rental rates in this area before I even start bidding on these properties? Like, we already looking at the list, riding around the city, seeing which ones we're going to bid on. I usually select maybe about 10 properties that I might want to bid on. Then I start narrowing the properties down after I've had a chance to go by and take a look at them.
Can you go in them at all or no?
No, you're not supposed to.
Okay.
So if they vacant, I just assume the worst. Like, if it's got a decent roof on it, then I know that I might can get away with not redoing the roof right away. But I'm assuming that the furnace is gone, hot water tank gone, plumbing is shot. Even if that stuff is there, I assume that it don't work. Like,
So you do like a walk around it or something? Like you get out and walk around it or anything? Or
yeah, depending on what I got on me and who I'm with.
okay. No, I mean I'm genuinely asking these
Yeah,
questions.
but yeah, I try to walk around the property. You wanna inspect the property as much as you possibly can. I'll just say it that way, right? But you still have to assume that the basement may be full of water. Sometimes
That's
you
what I
can
was gonna
smell it
ask,
when
yeah.
you're walking up to the property.
You
Yeah,
can
especially
smell it?
if it's a hot day, you can smell it for real then.
What, the
Yep.
mold or something? Or
You can
The
smell
mildew, the mold, the moisture, all of that.
The
yep, or the
sewer.
sewage. Yep. Yeah, she said. Yeah, you can smell the sewage.
we
But
should
yes,
do a role reverse one day, y'all. Somebody should come sit here and let me come
Hell
in
no. I don't want your
be
job.
y'all and y'all be me.
I'll do it.
I'll take Asia and try to
I'll
swing
do
the
it.
camera. I'm not doing what you do. You do what I do. We do somewhat
I
similar.
know it's a privacy thing there, so certain things y'all wouldn't be. We gotta do a role reverse though.
No,
Like,
you do
I'll
a role
do it. You gotta
reversal.
give me.
I couldn't do your job, Emma, because you wouldn't have no business. I'd be cussing everybody out. Especially when they come and get dumb shit. Oh no.
I'm so intrigued in what you guys do, but I'm always in here pushing paper, till I don't get to do this. And so when I'm hearing it, I'm like, you walk into the house and you smell the stink.
Yeah.
You can always
Hey,
do a ride along with either one of us.
Yep, any day.
Tito, to be honest, like sometimes it's people they're living with that stuff there.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you
Like the
that.
basement
They
flooded.
just
or
close the door and put a
stuff.
piece of plastic over it.
Yep. So
And-
I tell people when you buying a property from the tax sale, I used to make the mistake of assuming that if it's occupied, it can't be that bad. Yeah, it's that
Shit.
bad on some of them.
The
Like-
stuff some of these people be living in, that's why I really stopped doing work for a lot of property managers.
But do they have a choice? I mean, do they really have a choice, or is it an unfortunate situation?
Some people just trifling and nasty, and they don't realize they nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, I done been in houses with roaches, all type of stuff. I tell them property managers, like, I'm not the contractor for you, because I'm not bringing nobody home that I didn't plan on bringing home.
Right.
People
And
nasty.
I've been in houses, and these were not tax sale properties. I've been in houses where it's a bungalow, and the person and the dog is upstairs, and the dog just did what they wanted to do all over the carpet, and nobody picked it up because it's just old and it's sitting there and it's old and hard. Like the Eddie Murphy skit, like it's part of the furniture.
Yeah. I had it.
Like the TV show Hoarders. I've been in some
Hoarders.
shit
It's
like
a path from the doorway through the house.
Yeah.
So
It was unfortunate and
If it's that bad, I'm not even going in. You ain't even getting
How do you sell that though?
Well, so here's the thing too. Like when you mentioned role reversal, so like I said, there's a lot that for us to even get to the closing table. We have to remember some people living in these conditions because some people are just less fortunate, but some people have other things going on mentally or whatever's going on with them. We're actually somewhat counseling these people, right? Like I've been in situations where I'm talking to somebody and it's an older lady, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable signing these papers. Can you call your son and daughter to come over? So by the time we get to this closing table and the agent on the other end is like, well, why you don't have this document back right away? Why you don't have this back by tonight at 9? Or why they can't just e-sign? I'm like, this ain't the person for that, right? So when we get to the closing table, it's like I literally had to go through a lot of shit to get here.
Yeah.
So I need this to run smooth. I need the closer to just be quiet, shuffle papers, and we've already worked out all these kinks. Don't bring up no old shit. Don't start no new shit. And let's make this deal close. Because some of these deals, I'm not doing it just for the money. I'm doing it to help a person out of a situation.
Absolutely.
So when we think about approaching these people that are occupying these properties that went through tax foreclosure, you run into some people that are not mentally stable. So they not even understanding what you're talking about when you say I'm gonna give you cash for keys or relocation money. They probably were there. It was their grandmother's house. They were raised in that house. Grandma died. There was nobody to take care of this person, or nobody wanted to take care of this person. And this person is mentally unstable. This is the only house they know,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're taking somebody that would have normally been in a mental institution, and this is all they got. And the only person that probably looked out for them was maybe a neighbor or something. And you're coming in and you're saying, "Oh, I'm about to evict you out of this property." So I tell people too, be careful how you approach these people
Absolutely.
and understand the temperature of the neighborhood you're in and the people that you're dealing with.
That's why
makes
when
sense.
I pull up to any house, I be like, "Hey, what up, though? How y'all doing? Everybody cool?" And they be
Yep.
kind of more relaxed because I'm a girl, so that kind of, I guess, make the people feel more at ease too. Because I done been to some houses in the hood. I had to text my sister like, "Keep checking my location." I'm by myself, so
Right.
it's one of them days. But
I
some
always come with a
people,
softer approach because everybody always think I'm a cop. They were, oh, I thought you was a cop.
you
No, I'm
don't get
not a
like you
cop.
cop.
Mm,
You give off police vibes.
that's apparently I do. They say when I step out the car, I look like I'm the police. I'll be like, okay. Thought you was
Well,
the police. No, I'm just here for the house. That's all.
My issue be everybody want to tell me they life story. It be full of lies, but I be sitting
Yeah.
there like, what?
But you know what? In those lies are truth, and I love when people tell me about the life story because that helps me go ahead, put the title together, put the house together, know what the
Yep,
condition may be, who the people I have to deal with. If they keep mentioning a intrusive aunt or an
Yep.
overbearing uncle, like okay, I know that I'm gonna see them eventually. Let me get them in the picture now. Like Reg was saying, like you got somebody that can come and be with you to sign these papers, that can
yep,
advise you. Yeah.
Yep.
that makes
One,
sense.
one thing I tell people when you buy properties from the tax sale or any vacant house that's been sitting vacant for too long, right? If it's a halfway decent area, or at least the side by side, the neighbors on each side are decent, they're keeping their lawn up, make friends with them, right? Because usually what happens is they want somebody to get that house and make it look better, right? So they'll help you any way they can. They were
Hmm.
just tired of doing it and not getting any credit for it, right? So they maybe stop cutting the grass. So a lot of them will complain to you. Sometimes they'll get on you like, when you gonna clean it up? How soon you
Yep.
gonna get over here? Just try to make friends with them, and get over there right away. Keep the grass cut, front and back. Don't just cut the front and be an a-hole. Front and back, you
Right.
know.
And then with all this rain we had, that shit tall as hell.
Yeah, the weeds is trees now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And they
So,
hold rodents. Like the
oh,
neighbors have a good thing. Like it holds rats, roaches, raccoons, all they live in all that stuff.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
So clean
so
up the outside first. Go in, gut it, clean it out. Do what you got to do right away.
Are y'all
Let
looking
the
at my
neighbors.
face when y'all say this stuff?
Uh-huh.
She like,
She
see,
like,
real
all
talk,
it was
I
like,
had a
in,
crumb on my desk and I freaked out.
real
yep,
talk, y'all, I ain't acting brand new, but this shit be like wow when I be, like every time I talk to you guys, it's always from this perspective. I'm like, I thought the damn title was jacked up. Jesus.
nah,
So after you buy
no.
it, so after you get it, you win the bid, and then you finalize your paperwork, and now you own it, I presume.
right.
You can go take access without having your recorded deed, correct? Or do you have to
No.
have the
Oh
recorded deed
no.
before? That's
Don't
what
do
I'm
Oh,
any.
so
asking.
I'm glad you said
That's
that.
what
That's a
I'm
good
asking.
one.
See, I
No,
That's a
know
good
little
one.
bits here and there. So tell me.
do not do anything until you get that deed.
Facts.
Don't, because like I said earlier, the county can withdraw at any point. They reserve the right to withdraw at any time. So
Absolutely.
Truly.
don't do
It says
After
anything.
it in
you
the
pay
bidding rules. It's in the bidding
after you
rules.
paid your money, here I am. I'm on the outside. I don't know this. So after you pay, you didn't want to bid, you didn't got your certified funds or wired them or whatever, and they tell you everything is good. You mean they can withdraw?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
I wouldn't do anything until I got that deed in my hand, and then I'm going to cut the grass. I'm not doing anything.
Not a
Nope.
damn thing. I ain't putting another dollar in that house.
So
So I got my
so
paperwork.
with my bid, it's the price that I won to bid for. Then I gotta pay the winter taxes, right?
You
Not
got to
until you
pay
get
the
the deed.
balance due. So you got your deposit. You got your you will have to pay the upcoming taxes, but you're gonna get your usually you're gonna get your deed before that, right? So
So those taxes not included in my balance because I thought there was something about you had to pay the winter taxes, like all taxes for the year had to
The
be
current winter taxes. So right now
right,
we're in the what 2020 winter season. Well, I'm
right.
sorry, we're in the current tax. So we'd
2021.
be in the 2021 summer.
Summer, July,
Those are
right,
included in. You have to pay those at technically closing. So when you win the
right.
bid, that amount is
Okay.
included.
So
Yes.
no, so I
Right.
don't have to worry about my taxes that come out in December, but I
No.
have to worry about the taxes that came out in July. Because
Now, when you
okay,
win
so
the bid.
that's part of my closing costs.
Yeah.
So I bring my money for all of that. I do all my paperwork. What I did notice was if I buy it in my LLC, and I noticed this a lot when we get the deeds, it's in my LLC, but the county for whatever reason always put the individual name too.
That's the individual's mistake because when you win the bid, they're gonna ask you who do you want. Like I can bid, I can have an account set up with my $10,000 deposit, and let's say Asia wants to bid on some properties using my account, and I bid on some properties using my account, and Asia wins a bid on a property that she wanted. When I win that bid, I can dictate who name I want to go on that deed, right?
Yeah.
So I can bid, but I can just say I want this property in my LLC name. I want this property in my name, right? They don't care as long as they're getting the money.
Well, it's good to know that, and it's good if people need to understand that because what happens quite often, and we see those deeds, it's the LLC name,
Yeah.
comma, the
Comma.
individual name. So when
Hmm.
we're looking at it from a title perspective, we got the LLC owning half, and we got
Yep.
the individual owners half. We know what the intent was. It was for the LLC, but what you audience need to understand is if you have liens and shit against your name
Yep.
as an individual, the moment you hit ownership, those liens are now attaching. So y'all need to fill out y'all applications correctly. So
Right.
Yep.
now with that being said, I filled out my application correctly. All my paperwork been finalized. The county got my money. You mean to tell me I can't go cut my grass and go see what's living in my house, or I shouldn't go
You
cut my
don't
grass
own it
and
yet.
You don't own it
what?
yet until you get that deed in
So you
hand.
get the deed. You cannot approach that house at all. You are trespassing.
How long
Yep.
does it take for me to get the deed?
It could take up to 30, 40, was it 60 days? I think they have until about 60 days.
Yeah, my last one I got within I think like 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
Is that 60? Is that business days or just straight 62 months?
No, it's supposed to be like just 60 days from the
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Okay.
got mine within like 3 to 4 weeks.
They've
The last
gotten it's gotten faster. So you probably get it within what like you said,
So I
three,
can't get
three
my
to 4 week spread.
insurance. I can't get my insurance.
Nope.
I can't do nothing
Nope.
until I get my recorded deed.
Correct.
Now,
Right.
I would recommend this that you probably visit the property weekly because if that house burnt down or something, you need to contact them right away and say,
That's what
"Hey,
I'm saying.
yeah."
Absolutely.
So that's the only thing you really need to do. You can probably check if you got a way to check the registered deeds website. Check it every couple weeks or something if you just want to see if the deed posted, recorded, or something like
Correct.
that. But other than that, you don't do anything. You just sit back and wait.
So once I get my deed, then what's my next thing? Get my insurance first or
Go
go buy
get
the house first?
insurance. Go start
Insurance.
securing the property and clean it up.
Yep.
So I'm securing it, meaning like if it's got busted windows, I'm putting up some
Yep.
boards
You want to
and
board it up, change the locks, secure it, put a tarp on the roof if you have to. Call Asia if she's open for bids, get some bids on it, and go from there. Oh, and go to the
because
water department.
I couldn't get my bids before, but I could have done my research and looked at other houses in the area and kind of got the ARV or something.
Yeah, you want to. So before you even, like I said, you want to
Bid.
go. If you have, if I'm bidding on properties, right? Like I already have like 3 or 4 that I have in mind. So you probably pick like 10 properties because you're not gonna win all of them in most cases. You pick 10 properties. You say these the properties I like. Then pay Marcus, hey Marcus, can you run comps for me on all 10 of these properties? What's your cash app or whatever the case may be? So you brought a house, you looking at them, you say, okay, the after repair value might be 80, 100,000 or whatever, right? And on two of them, they may only be 60,000. So you may X them off the list, right? So now you ride past all the other 8 properties that you like. You look at them. You may eliminate 2 more because they might need roofs. You can see that it's terrible condition. The siding is falling off, the bricks falling off, or whatever. You might not like the block. So you narrow it down to 6 properties. Those are 6 properties you're gonna bid on, right? And then you set your max amount. A lot of people don't look at it this way. You want to set a max amount you're willing to pay for a property based on worst case scenario. And I mean worst case scenario, if you go in this house and the basement is flooded, you go in this house and you got to completely gut this property. So it'll be good to have an idea of what repairs may cost, right? So let's say your budget is 20,000 for a property, and you're assuming you may have to put 40, 50,000 into this property to get it together. And you're bidding. A lot of people get caught up in the hype. This is where people go wrong. So you're bidding and you're like, okay, it's at 18.5. Then you go up, it's at 18. After 10,000, it go by $1,000 increments. So it's at 19.5, right? So then you like, an extra 500 won't hurt me because I was at 20,000. So let me go and go up, right? And then next thing you know, you've been 26,000 on this property, and you 6,000 over budget.
Yeah.
Now you already factored in worst case scenario. So then you call Asia to come out and do the bid. In your mind, you got handyman prices in your mind. Well, Asia's not a handyman.
That part. Tell them again, Reg. Asia not a what?
Asia's not she's not a handyman or a handy woman, right? So these are real prices. So now you 6,000 above your acquisition, your purchase price. So you need to have, for each property you have, you need to set a cap on what you're willing to offer. And don't get caught up in FOMO, the fear of missing out, because a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm in this, I gotta walk away with something.
Say that again. Don't get caught up in what?
So I got 20,000 for Montrose. I got $15,000 for Ingleside. I got $30,000 for Bradford. I got $20,000 for the house on Minot. Then all of a sudden, you got this one house you didn't pay $8,000 more for, and you in the hole going into the project. That's what I tell people. It has to be a strategy when you do this.
Mm-hmm.
Then you also need to know, does the ARV really matter right now if I'm going to buy the property and hold it? Am I going to try to burn this property, maybe refinance it in 6 months to a year? Or am I going to try to flip this property? It's a complete different approach. So if I got a property and the ARV is 100,000, but I'm all in maybe 75, if I'm gonna hold the property as a rental property, that's not too bad, right? But if you're trying to flip that property, it may not be worth it because you only got a $25,000 spread, right? So anything can go wrong. The market can go soft. It may take you longer to sell it. Your holding costs can be through the roof. So you may not want to invest 75 to make 100, and then that $25,000 profit may get chipped away by miscellaneous stuff that come up.
It will get chipped away because you ain't mentioned nothing about the title clearing.
Yeah, title clearing.
The blight tickets.
Yep, the commission. Can't forget the commission.
Yeah, so it's
that take majority of it right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So right there up front, you like, nah, I want to flip this property. I'm not even gonna go past 15 on this property. So you need to work your transactions backward. What does the end look like all the way back to you sitting at the computer bidding on this property, right? So you need to incorporate somebody that can help you run comps. You need to have good licensed contractors that can give you estimates, good factual estimates on actually doing the work, pulling permits on your properties. Now, some people can slow walk it. Maybe you want to do some of the work yourself. That might work for you. Doesn't work for me because it cost me 3 times as much. I stopped doing that a long time ago.
No, that's right.
But you have some people that are good with their hands. They know how to do the work. But you just have to have a strategy when you're bidding on these properties. You should already be looking at this list, taking a weekend, riding around, eliminating properties that you're not going to bid on, and narrowing down your list on what you're going to bid on, to maybe 10 properties. If you got big bucks, maybe 15 or 20. The county does sell bundles of properties, but they're kind of like selective about which properties they'll sell in the bundle. That's a whole different ball game, but you're going to take some good with some bad if you get a bundle of properties.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, if you're an out-of-state investor, it goes back to you need to have a team of boots on the ground.
Exactly.
Because all this stuff that you just named cannot be done if you somewhere in another state trying to make some moves with a property here in Detroit.
It's kind of difficult to do so.
Like
Yep.
the first thing I do, I get the list. So like every day for probably the next week, I'm gonna be Googling maps on every property. I'm looking at the street view. If I might most likely I'm familiar with most of the streets. I'm looking at the street view. Then I'll say this one is worth driving by, right? So then I'll narrow it down from there. And you want to narrow it down as much as possible because you want to cut out the legwork. Or you can do it the business way and use leverage. You can get somebody, maybe somebody, college student, somebody in high school, and say, hey, here's 30 properties. I'm going to pay you $20 or $15 or whatever per property. I need you to go by each one of these properties and take 3 to 4 photos, front, both sides, and the back if you can, or at least the front and both sides, and maybe a street view going each way of each property. And I need you to send them to me by their address. So 11 something something midnight. That's one email. And you do it like that. Now you got current property photos that you're looking at. Even better, pay them a little bit more and they'll just do a video of the property for you. Make sure they take a photo of the address because you don't want
so
them
you
to
know it's
send
the
Yeah.
right one.
any property. Like, yeah, I was here. They went around the block.
I always used to have, when I did it, photo of the address as well as a photo of the intersection where the street name is. Because sometimes they take it right, it's the right numbers, but it's the wrong street.
Wrong street. Yep.
Oh wow.
So that's good. Street name, street sign, property address, 3 to 4 photos of the property and a street view. Pay somebody $20, $30 per property to go by for you if you don't want to do the leg work. You spend $300 or $400, but all the leg work is done for you, and you just sit back at a computer and start putting your numbers together. Call Realtor, have them run comps for you. Pay the Realtor to run comps for you. Starbucks card, Cash App, whatever you work out with them, and then go from there.
Let me just add in there real quick before we go into questions. And if you come across a house that has squatters or folks living in it, you need to go ahead and call your title company and say, hey, can I get the last deed of record for the owner? Because again, what you don't want to do is make beef with somebody that you probably could have used to get a deed and save you on time and money with having to do a quiet title. So you want to know who you're playing nice with.
Right. And don't go up to a house with your boss out. Like, hey,
That's right. Thank you, Reg.
I'm about to y'all gonna have to move because if not, then I'm gonna evict y'all. You already, and if you're in the wrong neighborhood,
your house is gonna be some ashes.
Yep. And if you in the wrong neighborhood, you ain't gonna be able to come back. I know some areas like, and whoever you send over there gonna catch it too. So you gotta be real mindful.
As a property manager, I have to kind of untie those knots a lot of times. I'm just here to try to check on.
So your balls don't be in knots.
Yeah,
literally, or they don't get cut off my body. One of the two.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys! It's what is it? 8. Ooh, we got any questions? It's 8:40.
Oh, let me look. Shit, I was working on an estimate. We did get some cash outs from Melissa. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. It's
Thank
all
you.
Melissa. You're awesome. If nobody told you today. Who else sent one? Somebody else sent one too. Let me pull it up because it popped up on my phone.
But no questions. All is good. All these gems being dropped. Well, no, maybe that
Miss
means we're
Phoenix.
doing a good job.
She said thanks to all four of you. This info is super helpful. Oh, anytime. Glad we could be of assistance.
And listen, you can find some great properties at the Wayne County tax auction. I mean, don't be afraid. You just got to do the legwork. That's all. We're not trying to steer you away from it or make you afraid, but it's definitely some information that we wish people would have told us back in the day because we definitely had to learn the hard
Alright.
way. So,
Mhm.
and I'm still learning stuff. But I
Here's
do
another.
remember back in the day, I had like 4 computers going in the office and a
Yep.
whole before Cash
You
App, a
want
whole
the
lot of
lab?
tricks on my desk and cash, just working them. Getting
Here's
busy.
another tip too, right? I don't tell a lot of people. Well, I tell a certain few people, group of people this, but I'm gonna share it with y'all because y'all tuned into this show. So, as much as we talk about the tax sale, technically the tax sale is still not what I call the open market, right? So people know about it, but not enough people know about it. So you can buy a property on a tax sale, right? We see people do it the wrong way, but I'm gonna show you how to do it the right way. We see people buy property at a tax sale, go clean it out, and put it back on the market for $8,000, $10,000 more. So we see people buy maybe 10 properties, right? And maybe they invested 20,000 at each property. That's 200,000, and they put them properties back on the market at $8,000 or $10,000 more. When you look at it from an investment standpoint, and they put little money into the property other than clearing title, they made a good return on their investment. The reason that works is because not many people in the open market are looking at tax sale properties, or they don't know the process. But once those properties go on the market with a realtor and they hit the MLS, it's
Hmm.
open to a whole new market of buyers.
Yep.
So if we see a lot of people do this, but they do it and they try to resell it with a quick claim deed. Well, quick claim deed technically lowers the value of the property because people don't want to take that risk, right? But if you eliminate the risk, that added more value to your property. So
Hmm.
if you buy 10 properties, they're decent shape, meaning not there's no foundation issues, there's no extreme roof leaks or holes in the roof, right? Most of these properties, because you got to keep in mind, there's really not a lot of properties in Detroit under 30,000 that has clear title in decent condition, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's homeowners that want to buy these properties and they got a little money to fix them up. They just don't have access to a lot of them, right? Or they may go on a county site and bid, but keep getting outbidded by investors. So if you got the money to buy these properties, you clean them up. Maybe you do a light rehab or you prep the property, you put it back on the market with clear title, you can make $8,000 to $10,000 extra easy on most of these properties just by doing that.
Yep. That's what I used to do back in the day, Reg. I buy them for next to nothing. I would prep them. So I make sure that the electrical, plumbing, um, if it had an HVAC, or at least prep it where they could slide a furnace in.
Yep.
Yep. Then it so like this. It was clean. They knew the lights worked. They knew the some of the plumbing worked. At least one of the bathrooms, if not, if it was two, and it was prepped for a furnace that they could just buy and slide in.
Yep.
It worked
We
every time.
we call it like our white box it, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
some of the properties I'll go in, we'll clean it out real good, we'll patch up the walls, and we'll prime everything because I don't want to pick the paint colors for you. That's up to you. We'll prime it, we're strip the floors. We don't want no old tile and all that stuff, right? And then we clean the basement up real good. If it's a furnace there, we leave it alone. If it's no furnace there, we try to make sure the ductwork and everything is in place. And like you said, we may prep some of the plumbing where it's kind of like plug and play. You put the toilet here, you know what I'm saying? Put the sink here, and then somebody has a project that they can actually do themselves, and they can come in and buy it. We made a little profit. They got a house, and now you got a homeowner that's still getting the property cheap, but they don't have such an uphill battle with going through the entire renovation process.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I'm looking at profit, right? So let's say you got 30,000 into a property and you can sell it for 45, you make 15,000. But let's say I had to put another 30 into that property and I'm only gonna make 28, 30,000. I may make more money, but I put in way more money and it took me 3 months to do that.
Time.
I can get my return quicker. And when you look at return on investment, it's pretty similar, right?
Yep.
So I'm getting the 15 instead of the 30 or 35, but I spent less money to do it, where I can do 2 or 3 of those instead of on one project. So it's all about strategy. The exit strategy is where you need to focus on with these properties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still stuck on the people living and you can smell the water though.
Oh man.
Well, then they got some unique ways too. They will put plastic over the vents so you can't smell it. Like they
For breeze.
for
And they be
breeze.
having animals. Some of them be having dogs and stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Some of them be having kids living there. I was like, why CPS?
Oh, all of them always have kids, and the kids don't never have clothes on. All they got is a diaper. So why the kids always got a diaper on?
It was I don't know if y'all remember. This was about 3 years ago. The girl, her baby drowned because they just had like a piece of wood over the floor. It was a hole in the floor, and the basement was flooded, and the baby fell through the hole. They moved the board, and the baby fell through the hole and drowned. She was living with her girlfriend. It was her girlfriend's house. I believe they was renting it or something like that, but the baby drowned.
So in a case like that, who to blame, the landlord or the tenant? Because if the landlord don't even know about it,
it's still the landlord's responsibility. Because
But if you don't know about it,
you have to do checks. You're supposed to do a check. I mean, we do.
okay, so let me flip it. In a case like that, if the landlord didn't own it anymore and the county owned it.
Ooh, that's a good one, Emma. I like that.
Yeah.
right?
Now here's the other thing too. Like, I'm glad you brought that up. So like the city is saying you got to bring these properties up to code, right? And the landlord, some of these tenants not even letting you in the property. And if they present you with anything saying they tested positive, you cannot force yourself into the property. That's my understanding. Unless Marcus.
That's
okay.
true.
So if they're living in a bad condition and the only person they'll let in to inspect is the city, and the city is saying, okay, you responsible for everything and you haven't even seen the property, this is creating a scenario that I don't think the city quite understands it. They're trying to protect the tenants, but in a way they're not, because if they're not letting people in to fix the properties, what can you do?
That's
Ryan asked, do we get
Well,
his money?
what you can do is, like, I have had to do this actually recently with a couple of them that would not let me in, is I had to go. Well, first we sent the 30-day for possession, which will still get us, even though we were looking for it, we had to get into the property. So pretty much to get their attention. So that once the attorney sent out all the paperwork, then it's kind of like, well, what you want? What you want to come in for? Like, because we got to inspect and see what's going on. It's not always about the money. It also boils down to this, like you said, the safety of the tenants. So we did what we had to do in order to get in, because I did have a couple of people that would not let me in because they were behind on rent. Like I tell them, that this has nothing to do with that. We still got to make sure that it's being maintained and that it's habitable for you to be there. And that is safe for you and your children.
Right.
Speaking of being up behind on rent, do y'all think they're gonna keep extending this? Because something got to give. It's been a year.
I think so. I think we got. What you talking about? The moratorium or the funding?
The moratorium.
Don't forget to
In my
answer
gut, I
Ryan's
feel like
question.
they are. In my gut, I feel like they are.
Yeah,
At
because it's
least
about to be the winter
December
time.
31st, because we haven't had any type of. It's going to take at least 2 years to come back from us being closed for 90 days, and the little minimum 90 days. But I feel like they're going to do it one last time, and it's going to be a huge uproar. A lot of lawsuits that's already happening now, but I
I
mean,
think they're gonna
once
do it
October
again
3rd
because
hits
it's
and
about
this
to be the
doesn't
winter.
and it comes up, it's going to be a floodgate, literally, because some people already have writs. The
Yep.
courts have already given landlords and property managers writs. So and you get 56 days from the date that it's issued to use it.
For those
Um,
that don't know, what's a writ?
an order of eviction, which means it's the last straw. You cannot go back to court. You can't fight it. We can call a sheriff and literally throw your things out in the
On
trash.
57th day,
That
Um,
means
before
you
the
56
can call the
56th
days.
day.
bailiff.
Yeah, the bailiff.
You got that writ,
Um,
you calling the bailiff, and if a dumpster show up in front of your house, you know what it means.
You
Hmm.
know,
um,
time to go.
um,
Time to go.
answer, answer Ryan's question. Answer Ryan's
Okay.
question.
Her question says, let's say I bid on, or he is, I'm not sure if Ryan's a girl or a guy. Let's say I bid on multiple homes and have the $10,000 deposit, but my winning bid is less than 10K. Do I get the difference back?
Yeah,
Hmm.
you get it back, and then whatever you get back, just cash out me the rest of it.
Yeah, I like
That
that.
part.
Yeah.
That part.
Well,
Yep.
now what you get back, you need to go on and call Marcus and get your comps. You need to go on and get with Reg to get that consultation. You need to go on and
Yep.
get Asia a little bit to get your write ups, and then you probably need to call me to see if you need some LDRs. So hang on to that little change,
What's an LDR, Emma, for those that don't know?
a last deed of record, to see if that last owner recorded is the person that may just still be in that house if it was one that slipped through the cracks.
Fact. Now, I got a question that people probably should be asking. What do you do if you buy a house that has squatters living in it or the current owners don't want to leave?
We just try to negotiate with them. If not, so that's a good question. So either we negotiate, like I mentioned earlier, the relocation assistance or cash for keys. But if not, you're gonna have to go through eviction. Here's another thing I'm telling people too. If you're trying to evict during this time, you might have to be prepared because of the process. One, you're waiting to get your deed, right? Then when you get your deed, you're going through the process of getting everything taken care of. But now you're going to court right away. You're trying to file for an eviction, and that may take a little bit longer than what it would have taken 2 years ago. But you
Mhm.
can always call Marcus to assist you or get a good attorney. Make sure you get an attorney that handles evictions on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Don't just get any attorney and don't just get any real estate attorney.
Nope.
There's attorneys that charge you a flat fee because they handle evictions on a regular basis.
Yep.
So be prepared to pay the cost to play the game pretty much. You're going to pay
Absolutely.
for an eviction, put that into your budget. You're going to pay for title clearance, put that into your budget.
You
And
gonna
you're
pay
going to
for a
pay
clean
for,
out?
yep, clean out. Yep.
Oh, and
So
let's
hold
forget,
on to your
if you do get that writ at the end, you have to pay for a dumpster. So keep
Yep.
that in your budget.
hold on to your change that you get back from that 10K.
Right.
Yep. Now
Don't
I'm gonna
don't
say
forget the
something.
club.
I'm gonna say something too about the clean out and prepping the home. So if you're gonna rent these properties out, make sure you got a contractor that's one licensed that understands what the city inspectors are looking for. It's way better to have your house ready for a city inspection than to have
Yep.
it inspected and then try to get it ready,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to lead-based paint.
Cause they,
Right?
Absolutely.
they gonna fail everything.
Yep. And then when you're cleaning these properties out, I would kind of like kind of research asbestos and lead-based paint because some of these materials you might be cleaning out a property may be hazardous, and these properties been sitting for years in some cases. So don't just send your nephews down in the basement and
Uh,
like, oh yeah, remove this old ductwork, and they
Hmm.
cut it up in
Oh,
asbestos.
Reg, I was just about to say that because you know how many houses I done turned down because I'm like, look, you gotta call them boys across 8 Mile to come over here and take this asbestos out right because I ain't gonna touch it. because what most people do, especially the old houses with boilers, automatically them pipes is wrapped, and
Yeah.
and they just come in there with a cutter and cut it down and take it. I'm like, you're inhaling this, and then
Yeah.
you got it in your clothes and you taking it home to your family. I'm like, that asbestos is serious. Y'all be seeing these mesothelioma and all these commercials and stuff. That stuff is from way back when lead and all that stuff first came out, and they didn't know the effects of it, like these lead poisoning commercials and stuff from like all the old school lead based paint and stuff. So I'm like,
Yep.
this stuff is serious. I got asthma, so no, thank you. I don't need to
Yep.
take that bad.
Even some of the floor tile.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
more
If
than,
it's 4x4 in the basement, that's asbestos all day.
yep. Or you go in the basement and got that old shuffleboard design
Yeah.
on the floor.
Yep. That's 4x4. If it's 4 inches by 4 inch tile, that's asbestos. That's lit. That's asbestos all
Yep.
day.
And sometimes the tile don't even the glue they was using back then had asbestos in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or
So
pesticide. I mean, or some different poisons in the pesticides or something like that. It was crazy.
yeah. So all my cousins, when I used to spend a night over their house and they furnace ductwork wasn't wrapped properly and we was playing in those basements,
Straight
Right.
call.
I'm suing all my cousins, mamas and
Coffin.
friends.
Y'all know I had asthma growing up. Put me in these circumstances.
Yep.
Don't be in grown folks' business. Go back downstairs in the basement.
Yep.
Right.
I'm playing in them attics and stuff.
All in that foam. I mean, the stuff that was in it. What's it called? The insulation.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
insulation. Yep, that formaldehyde insulation.
Yes.
We used to play in it.
But even the
You
insulation,
itching like
the pink backs, like when we putting up the pink backs, y'all still need to have the proper mask on. That shit had you itching that fiberglass itch.
Yep.
You
It
still don't
does.
need to inhale that. Like you don't even. I
Yeah.
don't try to inhale nothing. Like I be masked up. Like
That's
I
why
ain't
I'm kind
on.
of glad that this kind of happened because it's okay to wear masks now. I
Yeah.
mean, and prior to the pandemic, if I walked into somebody's house with a mask on, first thing they think, number one, I'm sick. Number two, they think that I think they stink or their house stinks, and it was such a negative connotation to it. Now I'm like, I'm so happy because I always needed to wear one because number one, the house probably did stink, but at the end of the day, it was for the safety and for my safety, my
I been
family.
in some houses that was straight musty with roaches and stuff, and I had to call the landlord. Like, yeah, that price I sent you, you can go on times that by two, player, because I don't bring no unwanted guests home. Like,
Yep.
no. Mm-mm. And then because my sub gonna charge me more now, because that after that house, that was probably the last house I touched that was just filthy. Like I just went home, started cleaning, took me a shower. I took like 3 showers. Like Emma, people are like I never realized how nasty people are until I really got into construction. Like I don't, and then they be living in that and they don't see nothing wrong with it. Be cooking roaches at the table, sitting with them. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I had to get naked one time because I found out I went into a house and it had bed bugs, and I mean, nothing but some underwear on. Took everything I put in the trunk. I was in their driveway and got in the car and
How did
left.
you? How did you find
Yep.
out? Oh, you saw it while you was.
Oh yeah, it was right. They had a couch that was infested, and I didn't see it until I had already toured the house and went and I came back out, and you could just see them just crawling. They were just on it.
And they leave back like when they skin, they like go into when they go from babies to adults, like they leave little skin trails. It's
Yeah,
fucking
it was,
nasty.
And
it
y'all
was
see
something
Out
else.
that
this stuff?
shower.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had
we see
fleas
this
on
stuff.
me. Yeah, I
You
had
had
fleas
what?
on me one time in the house, and they was I got my car, and
Oh
I had on
yeah,
black pants, and I seen all these. I was like, I thought it was like some lint or something, and it was moving, and they was like moving, jumping all over.
yeah, the
Mm.
fleas.
I went and stripped down in my backyard.
Yeah,
Yep.
you gotta do
Yep.
one of them. Sometimes I just
Yep.
throw the shit away. It won't
Oh
mess
no,
me
those
up.
clothes went.
That
I
shit
threw
go
them
in the
away.
garbage.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I strip when
Mm.
I hit the garage, and then as soon as I get in the house, I go right
Hey,
in the shower.
hey, look, when we come to closing, right? And some of the people be all dressed up and nice at the closing table. I be like, oh, Emma has no idea.
Right.
Like these niggas is nasty. They
So
try.
Yeah,
basically, y'all saying we should have been wiping rooms now.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
need to
y'all
spray
need to
the
Lysol people because they come
alcohol.
up in there and they sit down, and if it's something on them, and they sit in y'all chairs, and I was in the chair, like it don't take nothing for a flea or something to jump with
Yeah,
legs.
don't.
yeah. Now I will say this though. I go in some houses that are so neat and pristine. I come back home and I look at my wife like, we need to clean this shit up.
Right.
Like, I be like, my house junk as hell.
I'm
You know,
like, I live in a
everybody got
trap
that junk
house.
room. I go in some people's house, you know, most of us, we got a junk drawer with like the ketchup packets
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
the
throw all
old
that shit
plastic
away.
bags. I go in people's house, they utensils be all neat in
Yes.
the drawer and a little utensil holder. I come back home like we just got too much shit in our house. Let's get it together.
Man, I go through my stuff probably every December. Like we go through the house and we like donate the stuff. I remember one year I was like, "Ma, go through all your clothes. If you ain't worn in 5 years, you need to go." This
Yep.
lady had one dress on the floor. I was like, "You got two closets full of clothes plus the closet in my old room.
That
You tell
sound
me
like
out of
me.
all
I'm
this
only
stuff, you
giving
got
up one
one
shirt.
dress to donate." I was
I'm
like,
only
"When I come
giving
back
up
home
one
tomorrow, you better
shirt.
have more stuff on the floor, lady."
Hey, I do want to say this though. I want to, especially since most of us, we see a lot of houses. So I have an estate sale rep that I work with. Um, so a lot of these properties we go in and clean out, and she went in one of my listings. The seller was in California. This was her mom's house. She went in there, and you know, the seller was like, some of this may be worth something. And some old records, some old lunch boxes and stuff.
Yep.
And this wasn't like one of the big, you know, Palmer Woods, Indian Village homes. This was just a house on Riverview off of Telegraph and Grand River, right? $80,000 home. The estate sale rep scheduled the estate sale. They made 5,000 the first day,
Wow.
mostly off of like little trinkets and stuff that our parents had. So if you trashing out a property, if you go in some of these properties that been vacant, start looking like on eBay or Google
Mhm.
what's collectible now. People are starting to collect vinyl records again and cassette tapes. So you might want to start looking through. A lot of it is trash, but just keep your eye out and just kind of
Yeah.
be aware of some of that
Like
too.
I remember watching one of them contractor shows, and you know when they gutted the house, they found like old comic books in the wall. You know,
Yep.
them be worth
Yep.
money. Cause I watch like Pawn Stars and stuff, so I can know like what stuff costs. Cause I went in a vacant house a couple years ago, and it was an old Saturday Night Fever like vinyl in good
Wow.
shape. That mug's still in the garage. Now you just reminded me, go and put that boy on eBay or Poshmark.
Yep.
But yeah, I was like, if I find some comic books, it's a wrap.
Yep.
Or money. Might find money in the
You
walls.
do. I found money in walls and under carpet. Oh, especially under the carpet. When you pull the carpet up.
Oh yeah, because they had
Oh
cut something in the
yeah.
old hardwood floor and put the money.
No, I mean they will pull up. Some people used to pull up the corner of a carpet and put their money under there and put it back down. That was
Oh,
grandma, grandpa's bank.
I believe that because my mama would put money under the rug, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay.
No, but all about buying a Wayne County auction property. These are things that you will run into. You can money in the carpet, comic books in the wall,
Old
people,
cars, people leave cars.
roaches.
Oh yeah.
People leave cars with the house
Oh
too.
yeah, we forgot about the animals. Cause some people leave their pets behind too,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
dead and alive.
Yeah. You go into a house and you got some vicious dogs out there. You got to be careful.
That's
So
how I got
never,
my dog.
yep, never just go in a house and just open the door and none of
Nope.
that. And then like we got a house. Me and Elijah went to a property in Pontiac we're buying, right? This is why it's very important to talk to the neighbors. So we went over there. We just gonna edge up the bushes and stuff, right? The neighbor called us down the street. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put you up on something." This was going on at the property, right? So he said, "Oh boy, across the street, yada yada, and all that, right?"
Yep,
So
none
we
of that
out
about
there
to go.
edging for about 45 minutes. This guy come across the street. I'm thinking he about to talk to us or ask us about the property. And he was just like, he pointed to the bush and he was like, "What up?" And then he went over to the bush and grabbed his stash. Now
Yep.
it was just in a Ritz cracker box, but it was in a plastic bag. We would have threw it away. So just talking to the neighbors, you never know if you dealing with a stash house or not, because the house might be
Yeah.
vacant, but it might be all type of stuff around there. And the reason I say it because you know me and Elijah, I still look young. I'm 48, but I look young. When the boys
Right, no,
pull
no
up,
crack.
them boys pull up and they look at you and you at the house sitting on the porch chilling, you know what I'm saying, because you just finished cutting the grass. They ain't gonna ask all them questions. If they come there and they see that on the property, it's your property. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really understand what's going on some of
Yep.
these properties.
Welcome to the D.
Yep, show up
I
like
got
you're doing something, like you working, act professional, and
That's
you'll
right.
be all right.
Yep,
I got
just
one
be
more
cool,
question
keep your calm. What's up, Emma?
before we get off of here. So what if you get one of these properties, you win the bid, you do all this, and the damn property burned down before you get your deed?
Then you
Reg,
call and get your money back.
you call and get your money back.
You
Yep.
can.
Yeah.
Yep, you get that fire, you get the report from the fire department, and you go down there and you get your money back.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because it was still in their possession. It wasn't in yours yet.
Because
Yep.
you didn't have the deed yet.
You didn't have the deed. Well, it wasn't. It makes you. It wasn't recorded because.
It was recorded. Yeah, because that's when it becomes.
But that's the reason for the fire report because it'll have a time and date in which it was. It happened. So.
So here's what I recommend. When you win the bid, contact your insurance agent. Say, hey, I just won a bid on this property. I need a quote. They can start the policy effective after a certain date. Now, if a claim, they probably won't let you file a claim. Like, let's say you don't get your deed until, because the deed gonna already be dated, but you may not get it until say October 2nd, right? Now you can estimate and say, I want the effective date to be October 2nd, right? Now, if something happened, you're probably not going to be able to file a claim because you didn't technically own the property. But it's that small window of time where you got your deed and something happened the very next day, right? You want to already be insured. So talk it over with your insurance agent and say, what should I do? What's the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? Because I won the bid, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to get the deed. And just get some professional advice from your insurance agent on how to, how to handle that.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Linda Allen, she said, thank you so much for the information. I'm just tuning in. Do you have any recommendations for attorneys? Ponce Clay, he's a broker and a licensed attorney in the city of Detroit or state of Michigan. Who else y'all got?
I use a few. I use Randall Levasseur. They do a lot of my evictions for me.
I send a lot of stuff to Maxwell and Dunn for quiet titles and stuff. They're pretty good. I've been referring to Ponce. I haven't. People been happy there. What's the guy that be down at the courthouse that does all the evictions?
Quite a few of them.
Yes.
No, the one that's been around forever.
You talking about Abbott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abbott's not doing it no more, right?
Yeah, I haven't used him in a while.
I think he kind of retired. I want to say I kind of read something like that. And somebody told me something. Mine is the Perkins Law Group.
Oh yeah, Perkins.
Perkins and his staff. So.
Yeah, I mean it's it's quite a few out there.
It is.
It
shout out to my agent who's an attorney.
Yeah, you gotta really think about it though, because some attorneys be like, oh yeah, I can do your quiet, and they make the shit so complicated.
Yeah.
You like really you what? So you really what do you need an attorney for? I mean,
just try to find somebody that specializes in that field. Like,
that's all they do.
You don't want to get a divorce attorney to do your quiet title.
Right.
You don't want to get so just kind of check references.
Some
and
attorneys specialize in probate, and that's what they're good at. I'm not sending them my quiet titles. They good at probate, but you can't have my quiets. You definitely can't touch my evictions, but you can put my LLC papers together. I mean, I don't know.
And a lot of those attorneys that specialize, they'll charge a flat fee. People be scared to pay the flat fee because they scared they may be overpaying. But trust me, it's way better than paying by the hour.
It is.
Or going down there yourself looking a fool.
Right. And what I learned about most of the attorneys that are flat fee, they factored in their costs because they do it. So they doing it often. that it's certain stuff that they're doing like in bulk. So like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to file this paperwork. They're not just filing one, they're filing 12 a day.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how they're saving you money and saving themselves time.
Mm-hmm.
All
All
right,
right,
y'all. I gotta get out of here.
you gone? All right, I'm
Yes.
gonna answer one more question, then we out of here. We said, what is a good zip code to buy in the auction? I'm already registered. What zips are coming up? That's really a paid question.
Yeah.
Unless one of y'all want to give
I
it.
done gave away all kind of free shit tonight. Y'all might as well go and tell that person the zip code.
I'll tell them what zip code to buy in.
Just
The
give
zip
them one.
code. Well, I'm gonna tell you the zip code that you did your research on, where your money can go the longest, right?
Fact.
So
Well,
A
you
you want
want,
neighborhood that you're familiar with.
yep, a
A zip code you're
neighborhood you're
familiar with.
familiar with, because $12,000 or 20,000 in one neighborhood is not the same in
bro.
another. So wherever your money can go the longest, do your research on comps. Again, this is about ARV if you're going to flip the property. You still want to know ARV if you're going to buy and hold it, but if you're going to buy and hold it, you need to know rental rates for that area. Because
Yeah.
a $60,000 house the difference in rent can be $200 between the two different areas.
And my biggest thing is if you're doing comparables or trying to find houses yourself, try to look 0.5 miles. If you're in Detroit, at least 0.5 miles within that area. Because usually that'll give you more of an accurate synopsis of what the as is and AVR may be, especially in Detroit.
Yep. All right, everybody.
All right, y'all.
All
Yeah, I
right.
think that's about it.
Yeah.
So y'all stay tuned. We're gonna try to put together this self-help class, but understand the time
Absolutely.
Facts.
and some other tidbits on investing and
When is
documentation wise.
Yeah,
when
I
is
might
y'all
be
thing in
out there.
Florida? Y'all got
Florida?
something coming up in Florida? Some investor meetup or something?
Oh, that's Atlanta. We'll be in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, we're going to Earn Your Leisures event next weekend. Detroit will be in the building.
All right, that's what's up.
We're gonna be deep.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're going to support Matt, MG, the Mortgage Guy, EYL, like them our homies. So we're gonna go support them.
Wall Street
Okay.
Trapper.
Yep, Trapper
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
there. Him.
yeah,
I don't know who else. I know my friend speaking. That's it.
right. So who's your friend that's speaking again?
Wall Street Trapper, he's speaking.
Oh yeah,
They it's their event. MG Mac the Mortgage Guy, he's speaking.
yep.
Sabrine, she's speaking. She a attorney in New York. She's speaking.
Okay.
And I think the realtor last name Watson. I don't want to slaughter her first name. I'm
I
not.
think it's Kiana.
Kiana
Kiana.
Watson out
Yeah,
of Atlanta.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's speaking. I think she a broker too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she a broker. I follow all of them.
Yep. So
Yep.
she's speaking. So it's gonna be kind of dope. We get there
Cool.
Thursday. I leave Sunday. I think Marcus and him leaving Monday. So I'm gonna be in and out.
Cool.
Stay
Yep.
tuned because I gotta look for a new office space. So if y'all got any key leads down there, let me know because I need a new office space.
We
In
need
the
a
ATL?
building.
Huh? Yep, ATL.
All right, Marcus and Reg, y'all gotta find us a building. We can just all be our own co-working space and be in one building.
That'd be sweet.
No,
Like,
this
for
guy
real.
just called me about a building that might be opening up in the Livernois 7 Mile area. He said it was like 2,500 square feet or
I
something.
think I know what you're talking about, and we'll talk about that off air. I know exactly what the details.
We can buy a building off the tax sale.
There
Right.
you
For
go.
real though, like for real, like cause like
You got my little change. Y'all let me know what you want.
We need to
Right.
plan it. Right now,
I got
we need
this.
to plan
I got the crew, so we can build it out. So that ain't gonna be hard.
Yep.
See, that we're gonna talk about that offline.
Okay then. Thank
All
you,
right,
everybody.
y'all. It's been real. I'm tired. Ooh.
All right, thank y'all for joining me as always. I appreciate y'all, especially you, Reg. Thank you for being our special guest. You're welcome to join anytime if you like.
Yes.
Thank you to our social media community. Thank y'all very much for tuning in and see y'all next month.
What's next month's topic?
Oh.
Let me look.
And while she looking at that, I want to say I've been doing this 29 years. This the most cohesive I've seen our real estate community as far as like Black people involved in real estate. the generation before I got involved, they were together because they were kind of forced to be together.
Yeah.
But it was like a long period where I didn't see what we got now from like the investors, the wholesalers, the contractors, title companies, everybody coming together and just networking and doing stuff. So
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a real dog eat dog from what I remember when I came in. He know more than I do, but when I came in, it was like, you ain't friends with nobody in this gang. Like
right.
it was literally like that. Like, what are you talking about? That's your enemy sitting next to you.
Yep. It was like an old boys club, but
Yeah.
now it's like everybody is welcome. And I think that's what the new generation of people are doing too. They're kind of opening up to working with each other a little bit more.
That's good. I'm trying to pull this flyer up. Oh, so next month's topic is the importance of a good CPA.
Oh yeah.
Do we have a guest speaker?
I'm gonna see if I can get my CPA to come on. Maybe Marcus can get his.
Okay.
Or both. Like it don't matter. We can do both of them. We got 2 hours.
Okay.
That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep, because y'all flipping
How
them
to
out,
turn your business into a business.
paying them capital gain taxes. They ain't teaching people about capital gain taxes
No,
in a lot of them
they're not.
seminars.
Facts.
They ain't teaching the people about capital gain taxes. They ain't teaching them about title. They just slipping, man. Yeah, it's time for me to get my certification.
They just teach
Right.
them money. That's it.
All right, y'all, for real this time. I'm out of here for real.
All right.
Peace.
All right, I'm out too, y'all. Thank
You
y'all.
hang up first.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
All right.